We are there. Hello everyone. First of all, my best wishes for the results which will be coming. Your exams are over yesterday. So today we thought of discussing some of the questions. GS paper 2 we are discussing. Please don't take it as an assessment of your performance. I know you all have done very well. Here we may be speaking many points. That does not mean that all the points should have been written by you. So have confidence in yourself. The idea of today's discussion is to actually establish an understanding for those who have already appeared to know that what could have been or should have been the answer to it. And those who will be appearing next year, it will be a great learning for them as they will start understanding the nerve of UPSC, that what UPSC is all about. So we all have seen the papers now. Yesterday optionals were also completed. So we thought of having the discussion once you can also be with us. Friends, GS paper 2, if you ask me in terms of assessment, only 1 or 2 minutes I will take before I start taking up questions straight away. Was, I will say, very expected, on the lines, no surprises were there, and what a good paper should be, UPSC kept its promise. What those who aspire to become civil services in regard to polity, governance and IR should be knowing, they kept their promise there. I will be taking up with you questions related to polity and governance, okay, and IR will be taken separately in this session only. My name is Dr. Manoj Sharma, and now I will take up questions one by one. Good afternoon, Vaishali. Good afternoon, others. Shubhankar. Fitness. Okay. The names on YouTube are like this. That's great. So fine, friends, and we will keep it interactive also. Only what I will request you, first of all, hear the entire answer, and then if you have any query, you definitely can have. We don't want to make it monologue. We want to clear your doubts as well. Hello Garima. Hello Raj, Om Prakash Sethi, Navdeep Kanojia. Good afternoon to all. So friends, as I told you that this paper was as per the expected lines only. Let's try to take a question. First question that was in the paper, they are in the order. The question numbers are as per the sequence of UPSC paper only. They have not been changed. Constitutionally guaranteed judicial independence is a prerequisite of democracy. Comment. See children, one more thing. Question number 1 to 10 will be 10 markers. Okay. And question number 11 to 20, whatever questions are coming of polity and governance, will be of 15 markers. So 10 marker means 150 words you are expected to write, and 15 marker means 250 words up to you are expected to write. Here we are only trying to see content, that what points you should have touched essentially, what should have been the points which you should have touched? Okay, they are saying constitutionally guaranteed judicial independence. So it means, children, they actually wanted that you touch provisions of the constitution, where independence of judiciary can be established. See beta, whether the question could have been on CAG or whether it is on it, autonomy or independence is established by few things. One is that the salary and emoluments, they shall not be subject to variation during the term of appointment. One thing. Second beta is always how do you remove. The procedure of removal shall not be just based on whims and fancies. Okay? It should be I am not saying removal shall not be possible, but it shall be a procedure which gives sufficient stability to tenure. ठीक है बेटा? How judicial independence will come otherwise? So they have said constitutionally. So constitutionally guaranteed judicial independence is a prerequisite of democracy. So you know, first of all, ingredients of this question will definitely be articles like 124 and 125. They will definitely become prerequisite. Remember one thing, the idea of collegium is not provided in the constitution. So you cannot write that because of collegium, it is not mentioned in the constitution anywhere. That is wrong. You should write that the stability of tenure of judiciary is ensured through this and this, that is their salary and this, one point. Second, more points are there. DPSP article 50, where you can talk that it is specified that there shall be separation between executive and judiciary. Then child, you can also talk of that it has also been specified that in the legislature this discussion shall not be made on the decisions or judgments given by courts of law. So all the ways they have tried to ensure that judicial independence is there. So it means in constitutional aspects 4 points हो गए हमारे पास, at least 4 points we are having, that they are having for the apex court, and you can write one more point by adding about high court also. But high court judges are also not possible to be removed, okay, at the whims and fancy of them, that is the executive or legislature. That also requires the same procedure that will be required for the removal of judge of Supreme Court. Okay? So first of all is this, but sir, should I write only these points? Should I write only these points, or how do I frame the answer? कुछ अच्छा intro हो, there should be some good intro which actually help me in reaching there. So how it could have been started, but we have to remember that it is only a 150 word answer, 10 marker. So we do not have luxury of words. So you need to connect two things, democracy and judicial independence. That should be immediately connected. Okay? That should be immediately connected. And how do you connect it? The easy way I will tell you is take the help of constitutionalism. one word will explain number of things to the examiner. One word will explain number of things to the examiner, that what the candidate is trying to write. So your opening statement could have been that the very thesis of constitutionalism, in order to promote democratic government, emphasizes on independence of judiciary. Full stop. Indian Constitution, through its various provisions, has provided for such an independence. ठीक है, appointment touch नहीं करोगे, because what previously was that president shall be appointing in consultation with so and such judges as they may think fit, as they may deem fit. That was there. Understanding? So you will not touch what? Appointment. Collegium is not constitutionally provided. So better we will not go into that. Exactly. Debate is also there on collegium. So we will not, without that also काम बन रहा है ना. How many points I require? 4 or 5 points from constitutional provisions, and remaining kids, this is something in which you can push basic structure also, in which you can talk of, yes, judicial review, fantastic, where you can talk of Keshwanand Bharti case and then Minerva Mills, essentially you can talk. I am not saying mention all the cases, not possible, but you can definitely mention these two basic cases associated with judicial review, and which somewhere also establish the idea of judicial independence and establish the idea that Supreme Court is the custodian of Indian Constitution, and what is supreme in India is not the Parliament, rather the Constitution and its principles. 150 words over, answer clear? फिर से एक बार समझ लेते हैं what should have been there. Let's understand it once again. So you are seeing in 150 words, when we go for answering, you actually maintain a high degree discipline in your answers. That is why we say, children, writing answers is more of an art. Learning may be there, but otherwise it is more of an art. You need to practice it. Why I am so easily able to answer it is because I have practiced it on other questions. So any question will come, you know how to make the intro, what should be in the body, and what part I need to emphasize. Okay? What I should not enter into. I will not enter into any controversies, because those many words are not there that I can defend anything later. Utna scope hi nahi hai in 2 pages. So here I will start with this connection and I will use the thesis of constitutionalism. So what I will use? I will use the idea of constitutionalism. To show what? To show the significance of independent judiciary. I am not writing that statement, I am just saying what you should write, what you need to show in that statement. So language can be different, no worries. Grammar can be different, you can pick it from anywhere, but how you should move ahead. Show the significance of independent judiciary, not Indian. Independent judiciary for a thriving democracy. For a thriving means successful democracy. So here also you can also talk about that how it will be connected, connected with what? Rights. भाई बिना राइट्स के कैसी डेमोक्रेसी? What type of democracy if they cannot protect your rights? तो अब आपको रास्ता मिल गया कि ठीक है सर, तो बड़ा आसान हो गया आंसर. See, intro made my answer easy for me and for examiner also. Now I know I can use even Golaknath, I can use Keshwanand, I can use easily Minerva Mills, I can use Vaman Rao. मतलब जहां वर्ड्स मेरे काफी हो जाएं बस. I am not there to show the examiner I will use all the cases. नहीं, मेरे पास तो बहुत मसाला है, बट जो इंपॉर्टेंट है वो बता देता हूं आपको. That should be the idea. And one thing should be told that sir, without it will not happen. Even part 3rd would not have existed in its shape if independence of judiciary would not have been there. When you are able to tell this to the examiner, your answer is given, is communicated. फिर रह जाता है केवल मसाला. So it means एक और थॉट जो जाना चाहिए था. So those who have not included it, do not worry. Still your answer could have been right. See, I am a teacher, so I will give you lot of points. Those who have already appeared at it, please do not worry. If you have missed 1 or 2 points, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Only it is direction should have been somewhere like this. That is the purpose. It is not at all to demotivate anyone who has appeared. Rather, it is to give you more assurance. That is why I am telling you, answer could have been anything, but in between it, हम एक सीमा खींच रहे हैं कि भाई इसमें कहीं होना चाहिए था. It should have been. And a good answer, I am also teaching others who will be writing next year कि कैसे आंसर निकाल लेते हैं. हाउ डू यू एक्चुअली हैव द आंसर. तो एक तो आदमी शुरू करता कहां से? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से ही शुरू करता. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हैज प्रोवाइडेड फॉर दीज इन दीज आर्टिकल्स. अब मुश्किल हो जाती, आगे कैसे जाएगा? तो आई विल मेक इट लाइक दिस एंड विल से इंडिपेंडेंट जुडिशरी ओनली कैन प्रोटेक्ट राइट्स, एंड फॉर दिस रीजन देन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजंस फॉर जुडिशियल इंडिपेंडेंस, and then judicial announcements for judicial independence, and conclusion, finish. So intro, basic foundation that I have made to answer my question, and then straight away 2 major sets. तो पहले अभी एक और पॉइंट आ जाएगा. क्या आएगा? इंडिपेंडेंट जुडिशरी must for FRs or rights, protection of rights. Of rights. ठीक है? After it, now you have given the examiner the connection between democracy and that. The question is not only on independent judiciary. The question is how democracy means my freedom to express myself, my freedom to have my choices. That's right. How my choices will actually be made available to me. That is what. Even if someone is having space, could have even mentioned Minka Gandhi case. वो भी right ही तो protect हुआ. In that also right was protected. So do not worry, lot of cases are there. So what you need to write? After it, you will have 2 things. इसके बाद 2 सेट बनेंगे. I can add. After it, two sets will be there. One, you will talk of constitutional provisions. See, in the mains, I am teacher, I may be remembering articles. You may forget. So don't worry, don't write number. If you remember, you may write. Otherwise, even if you do not write, it's okay. No problem. Just write in the constitution the following have been specified. जी चलेगा, क्योंकि है तो सही, लिखा हुआ तो है ही, नो डाउट्स इन इट. तो कौन कौन सी बातें आनी है? What essentially need to be there? One is stability of tenure, stability of emoluments. And what you will write in stability of tenure? Just one line. Removal is not by whims and fancies, but by rather a detailed and complex procedure which gives sufficient protection to the judges. Okay? Then in regard to emoluments, stability or security of emoluments is what? That they cannot be changed or altered during the tenure of that judge. During the term they cannot be altered. Is that right? Are we getting it? ठीक है. उसके बाद बेटा, how they have ensured, so constitutional provisions will come. 1, 2 is about that. Then third, TPSP. Shabash. Article 50, if you remember, it is fine. If you don't remember, no worries. Okay. So these two you can talk. I am writing only articles, but you need not write. I will be using articles, but you need not. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5 that you will be touching. After that, article 50 you should be touching. That is where you should be going. And then also you can talk about article 122. Okay? Are we understanding? Or why to write article number? Straight away write what? That in the Indian constitution it has been specified that judgments of court shall not be discussed in proceedings of parliament. खत्म. उसको भी मना कर दिया, तुम भी मत करो इधर. So separation has been provided. So it means one more line थी मेरे पास. Indian constitution is a fine expression of constitutional principle given by Montesquieu of separation of powers. यहां से शुरू किया है, ये भी ठीक है. If someone is started from Montesquieu, this starting is also okay, and then come to democracy. But आना पड़ेगा. You will have to connect it with democracy because the question is talking of that. Right, kids? So this should have been the answer, and toward the end you should have said that Indian judiciary through various mechanisms like PIL and basic structure has been able to not only protect the cause of democracy, but to serve the people and policy process. This should have been your answer. ठीक है? तो बट ये बेटा आने जरूरी थे. You should have touched them. That is separation, you should say, of P and J, then separation of legislature and judiciary, protection of tenure and emoluments. These should have come. These should have been there. ठीक है. After that cases you can talk from जहां से कुछ challenge आया. So don't go for Shankari Prasad and all, not required. Sajjan, nothing, not required. Straight away from Golaknath. If you want to start, you can start from Golaknath. But depends how much space is left. Okay, you necessarily need to give which ones? Which ones? केशवानंद एंड मिनर्वा मिल्स. वो तो लिखने ही लिखने हैं, तो उसके लिए स्पेस छोड़ के रखना. मेनका गांधी कैन ऑल्सो बी रिटन. दैट्स अ गुड केस. That's a good case related to democracy. That's good. Okay. And even Indira Nehru Gandhi, that also is good case. But I do not want to just confuse. Cases तो बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं, लेकिन कौन से अच्छे हैं जो मस्ट हैं? दो, केशवानंद भारती एंड मिनर्वा. उसके बाद जो डालना है, अगर मैं ऑर्डर में लूँ, तो यू कैन राइट इंदिरा नेहरू गांधी. भाई रिजर्व उससे ही इलेक्शन से जुड़ा हुआ था. तो इन डेमोक्रेसी इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट दैट देयर शुड बी सम सॉर्ट ऑफ जुडिशियल रिव्यू पॉसिबल. एंड देन यू कैन टॉक अबाउट मेनका गांधी केस. एंड फाइनली मिनर्वा मिल्स ओवर. तो 10 नंबर के लिए बहुत मसाला हो गया. ओके. अगर आप पॉइंट्स भी गिन के देखेंगे कि कितने मार्क्स मिल सकते हैं, so even if the examiner is taking the actual striker of 0.5, तो भी आपने 9-10 पॉइंट उसको दे दिए हैं. So you cannot score less than 5. Ideally in some points are there where he can give you even 1 mark. Okay. So this is how we proceed. Shall we take up the next question? Let's go. Here I have given you some details. Why? Because most of you have not read it in this much detail earlier. Who are entitled to receive free legal aid? Assess the role of National Legal Service Authority in rendering free legal aid in India. देखो बच्चे, क्वेश्चन नंबर क्या है? 2. So it means अभी कितने नंबर का चल रहा है? It is 10 only. It is still 10 marker. और क्वेश्चन बहुत बड़ा कर दिया है इन्होंने. And that is here an art will play. Because here if I will show you, you will see lot of matter written. That is only to help you. In the examination, even some points I will mark out later, that what should have been written, and that is sufficient. See kids, when I talk of free legal aid, so you will be recalling article 39A immediately. Why 39A? I will make it a question of article 14. Just by declaring in the constitution that everyone will be equal before the law, whether everyone will be in the capacity to really have the justice achieved? No, due to financial constraints. नाम ही क्या है? फ्री लीगल एड. तो इट मीन्स कौन सा वर्ड डालना जरूरी है? फाइनेंशियल कॉन्स्ट्रेंट्स. ओके. So financial constraints can be a hindrance or could have been a hindrance in this entire idea. अब तो रास्ता बन गया. Now you can talk of how and why article 39A was inserted. But as I am saying, it is 10 marker only. Don't waste even on that. You can start this answer that to ensure the realization of article 14, equality before law, insertion of article 39A was done, which later on followed the enactment of Legal Services Act 1987 and later in 1995 Constitution of NALSA, National Legal Service Authority. ठीक है? And now what are they saying? What the question is saying? Who are entitled to receive free legal aid? Where a mistake could have been made. Sometimes students try to write that let me answer it in parts. So first line, opening line, that the following are who can receive free legal aid under it. But remember, you have not given any intro. You have not provided the table for any discussion. So it will be better that you talk of the essential things very early. As we talked, that to ensure the true realization of Article 14, Article 39A was inserted, which inspired the enactment of Legal Services Act 1987 with the idea to reach those who face financial constraints in achieving justice for themselves. ठीक है? अब कहानी बन चुकी है. Now we can write. Now first part can be that the following are seen eligible for free legal assistance. And we have done in the class also, you remember, it will start from SCs, STs. That can be easily done there. इसमें नहीं मिलेगा बेटा NALSA, इसमें how you can get it. Then trafficked women you can write, and I think we must be having it here. So here you see all has been written so long. 39A we have talked of Justice Bhagwati. It is only to give you an idea. But answering यहाँ चल रही है as I am giving you the answer. So ये जरूरी था. But of it, how many of you are able to remember? कुछ तो याद रहना ही चाहिए. 4, 5 first should definitely be recalled by you. And they are easy also. They are not difficult. They are not difficult at all. Okay? A member of a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, a victim of trafficking in human beings, or beggar as referred to in Article 23 of the Constitution, a woman or a child, a mentally ill or otherwise disabled person, a person under circumstances of undeserved want, such as a victim. छोड़ भी सकते हो, but victim of disaster लिख सकते हो, वहाँ इतनी लंबी कहानी नहीं लिखनी है. Victim of any disaster like earthquake etc. Finish. अभी तक आपके कितने वर्ड्स खर्च हो चुके हैं? 80 to 90. इससे ज़्यादा नहीं हुए, बहुत फास्ट गए हैं. We wrote 30 words intro and then we came to straight away to them. 100 words तो मिल ही जाएंगे बचाव के लिए. And now I can assess कि कुछ किया भी है इन्होंने या सिर्फ मौज काटी है. That is what you can have. So then you can talk, there you can talk that this arrangement has provided for National Legal Service Authority at union level, that is directly chaired by the Chief Justice of India, and at state level also we have it, which is chaired by the Chief Justice of the concerned High Court, and at the district level also we have constituted it, in order to ensure that legal assistance is really reaching the needy, that no one is denied the justice only for economic or financial constraints. ये बात एक दो बार लेकर जरूर आइएगा. Then here you could also have talked about lok adalats, because NALSA, similarly State Legal Service Authority, they are also required to organize lok adalats. Lok adalats for speedy justice, economic justice, speedy and economic, without going into unnecessary trouble of detailed procedures of law. Right sir? Then you can say कि sir ये awareness भी बढ़ानी चाहिए. So these are the points which you are writing to score marks. These are points which you are writing to score marks. Was it a difficult question? No, it was an easy one. It was an easy one. How you should have talked about the points. So when you break the question in two major components of the main body, you will never run short of points. You will never run short of points. And see, UPSC is doing already the good work for you. खुद ही क्वेश्चन तोड़कर पूछा है. They have actually themselves have asked that tell me who are eligible and then assess the role that whether their existence have really done something or not. So here you can talk of Nyaydeep, the publication, the magazine which they come up with. That also can be discussed. Salary charged to Consolidated Fund of India, yes, beyond it is not subject to discussion. वो तो बेटा सभी की है, that is of everyone. Okay? That is when you go for it, that is more associated with lot of things. That is entire president's establishment is also coming in that. So that was the reason I have not emphasized on that. Got it beta? Adarsh asked it. यहाँ सैलरी का प्रोटेक्शन बेटा, that during the term it cannot be reduced to your disadvantage. It can always be increased. उसमें तो खुशी की बात है. You increase the emoluments, you increase other things of any judge, that is no problem. So it cannot be altered to disadvantage. Okay? Fine. So these are the points. Lot of points are there. Definitely in a 10 marker all these cannot be written, but yes, few you should have written. ये तो आप बता ही सकते हो कि जी awareness भी बढ़ाना चाहिए इन्हें. लोक अदालत is an important point, 1 or 2 point for that. Then there should be, don't you think, some NGOs should be identified? How the district judge, who is the head of district level, will actually go and find out आपको न्याय चाहिए क्या, do you require it, आपके पास पैसे नहीं है क्या, it will be very difficult. So don't you think there should be some connectivity with NGOs? लीजिए साहब identification of NGOs, and with that awareness campaigns can be conducted. At the level of villages also we can promote awareness. This is all that is written, nothing very difficult for anyone. लोक अदालत ओनली यू कैन टॉक, लोक अदालत, बट 10 नंबर का है ना बेटा, कैसे जाओगे? हियर यू आर असेसिंग नालसा. अगर लिखना है तो दैट यू विल राइट इन अ वे दैट दिस अथॉरिटी थ्रू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ लोक अदालत समवेयर हैज बीन हेल्पफुल ऑन वन साइड प्रोवाइडिंग क्विक एंड इकोनॉमिक जस्टिस टू द पीपल, एंड ऑन द अदर इन ब्रिंगिंग डाउन द पेंडेंसी ऑल्सो इन कोर्ट्स ऑफ लॉ. बट देखिए इसमें 20-25 वर्ड लग गए हैं. So it all depends how much space you are having. Correct sir? Any doubts? The states in India seem reluctant to empower urban local bodies both functionally as well as financially. Now we are taking another question. These are such questions, my friend, like question number 2. Question number 1 I said it could have been started in 2-3 ways, but question number 2 and question number 3, they are very specific. Yes, straight, no space for any sort of gossip in them. You need to be very specific in your answering. Let's try to see what should have been the answer to it. let's see what they are talking. Urban local bodies, it means they are somewhere talking of 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay? So you need to highlight, yes, reasons of reluctance, but others, first of all, you also will need to specify that in spite of 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, still their federal units are not empowered sufficiently. ठीक है, यहां बेटा मैं कहूंगा आर्टिकल मालूम होना चाहिए था. And why? I will give you the reason why you should have been knowing this article. Beta, let it be second ARC, let it be Punchi Commission, and let it be any other body that has talked about, all specifically talk about 143W and 143X. Okay? 143W is like 143G was powers for panchayats, powers and functions. 143W is for powers and functions of urban local bodies. पहले देख लेते हैं क्या क्या अच्छे से याद होना चाहिए था. Otherwise, the marks which will be coming, maybe you will definitely get good marks, but if you want very good, I should say in this manner, I should not say you will get less marks, you will definitely get good marks, but if you could have scored better, if you would have touched the essential aspect. ठीक है, कैसे शुरू करेंगे? मन में एक दुविधा है कि सर 74th Constitutional Amendment Act means now municipalities are a constitutional obligation on the states. Then where is the problem? फिर कहीं की प्रॉब्लम है? So it means यहीं से शुरू कर लें आंसर, ये तो बढ़िया हो गया. Then you will say, even after having 74th Constitutional Amendment Act 1992, the stability of municipalities and other things have been addressed, but still the issue of power and decentralization continue to exist. ठीक है, राइट सर? हॉन्टेड वर्ड भी लिख सकते हैं, नेगेटिव है ना, दैट द इश्यू ऑफ powerlessness of the local bodies continue to haunt even after that amendment. So now this sentence of yours take you to the very possible next line, which is reasonable also, logical also, that for some provisions it is mandatory, but in regard to some provisions the decision is still left with the state legislature. And now you have the time to talk of 143W. Now you have the time to talk of article 143W, where powers and functions, you will specifically write that powers and functions of the municipalities still are at the disposal of state legislature, which they will provide according to their law. This brings an important question, that even after having a structural mechanism for decentralization, still the municipalities may continue powerless further under article 143X. The finances, the share in the revenues, which who will be getting? The municipalities will be getting, again is decided by the state legislature. ठीक है बेटा? तो जरा मसाला देखें क्या क्या याद होना चाहिए था. One is 74th CAA, you should have been having an idea. 1992, that's right. ये पता होना चाहिए. Then you should also mention of article 143W देन आर्टिकल, यहां आर्टिकल चाहिए 143X, एक है पावर्स एंड फंक्शंस और एक है फाइनेंसेस। ठीक है सर, वो कह रहा है क्यों चलते आ रहे हैं ऐसा, तो आपने प्रॉब्लम समझ ली, तो रिलेक्टेंस आपको दिखानी पड़ेगी एंड दैट यू कैन नॉट शो ऑन योर ओन, you will have to use ARC, that is second ARC, and Punchi Commission. Okay, and with Punchi Commission you will also get a way to reach conclusion that you will be benefited. ठीक है, now अगर बेटा स्पेस है try to write about schedule 12 also, try to write about schedule 12th where the subjects also have been specified, then on what aspects municipalities shall be given autonomy and freedom. Right children? Komal Preek, power to impose taxes also will be decided by beta state legislature. So 243W, not 143, I am sorry, 143 is constitution continuing, 243, absolutely right. That is where panchayats will come, part 9th. So 243W and 243X, that will be coming. Got it? So these when you have mentioned, after that then you need to talk about the issues and you should talk about ARC, which commission? Moily commission, that is second ARC. Which ARC? Second. Which report? Sixth report. It is specifically about local governance. Okay, and then you also write CSRC, Center State Relations Commission, that also second CSRC, popularly termed as Punchi Commission. Okay, this you will talk, and here you will talk one very good statement which Justice Punchi came out with, that states shall have the same attitude towards their federal units what they seek from central government in their own regards. You want more freedom, more financial autonomy from the side of center, but towards your own federal units you are not showing the same attitude. So this tendency of centralization somewhere should be done away with, and local elections or municipal bodies elections shall not be an issue of politics, rather politics should be supportive in it. Answer is complete. Okay, why they are reluctant? समझ में आ गया? Political parties at the local level and at the state level may not match, that is why they are reluctant. So with Punchi Commission you have said everything. Constitutional mandate है नहीं, because there is no constitutional mandate, and then they go by political reason. Tendency of centralization is a natural aspect. So neither they give them power nor they give them finances. Correct. Decentralization is must for better urban development, that you can write 100%. Clear? So easy question, not at all difficult. Rural नहीं आदर्श, question ये जो है, they have asked about urban local bodies, ULBs only beta. But if the very same question comes beta for rural panchayats next time, just take out for 243W take it 243G, and for 243X use 243H. Same answer will go. अरे मैडम, फर्स्ट ARC आया था 1965 में मोरारजी देसाई, फिर उनको काम पड़ गया, तो देन हनुमंतिया was appointed as its chairperson. First ARC made its recommendation in 1967, 68 and 69. 3 सालों तक उन्होंने अपनी रिकमेंडेशंस दी. उसके बाद हमने अपॉइंट किया कब? नाउ यू सी इन टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ 2004, 2005 से फंक्शनल हुआ. तो आप देखिए कितने साल लग गए, 40 साल बाद आया. इट्स नॉट एवरी ईयर. ऑफ कोर्स रिपोर्ट्स, ये 2006 की रिपोर्ट है. Still it is running means commission over, recommendations given. If government appoints, government is having it or not, accept it on, it is on the government. They have made their recommendations. हमारे लिए handy हो जाता है. When we are writing answers, it becomes handy for us. Okay? It becomes handy for us. If you have more understanding of ULBs, kids, you could have also used Ahluwalia committee report. That was a committee appointed by Ministry of Urban Development, MOUD. But ये additional है. Core answer यहाँ से जाएगा, ये तो पता ही होने चाहिए. Now Ahluwalia committee and the Niti Aayog, what recommendations they have made, all these are, if you know, it's very good, but otherwise not. That's right. Niti Aayog also can be handy, and you can always write, because Niti Aayog is continuously talking about in favor of more and more functions decentralized to the lower levels. So that also you could have mentioned. वो तो स्टैंडर्ड है, वो तो आप सीख जाएंगे, वो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है कि भाई किसका नाम लिख ही सकता हूँ मैं. Anything related to decentralization, anything related to economic empowerment, anything related to social empowerment, these names you can always write because they will always go correct. Now, compare and contrast the British and Indian approaches to parliamentary sovereignty. लगभग पूरा पेपर ही प्रीवियस ईयर है. Means all of the questions are coming, they have been picked from there only. So mains is never difficult. Mains is all about that you really understand things. Like I said, this time they have asked urban, next time they may ask rural, panchayats. Problem तो same ही है, बस आर्टिकल के नंबर बदलेंगे, rest will remain the same. Answer writing skill, and that is what we are here trying. Some of them are almost taking it, some are not, should take, यही तो skill है. They are also cautiously taking what should have been the intro. So a learning हो गई ना बेटा, it is a learning. We all learn. I learned from my seniors in life. We all continuously keep learning. Okay? And then slowly you become an artist. Writing answers is an art. It requires a lot of practice, nothing else. So let's see. Compare and contrast the British and Indian approaches to parliamentary sovereignty. Okay, sir? As we understand that in polity, we try to see that what are the features of this polity and with the other polity, whether there is comparison or contrast. Okay? It could have been in regard to president and monarch, that is executive को compare करा सकता था. It could have been in regard to judiciary. It could have been in regard to USA. But here what it is, let's try to see. उसने एक खींच दिया term, approaches to parliamentary sovereignty. क्या approach है? What is their approach to parliamentary sovereignty? So, how do you pick it up? First of all, if you know what do you mean by parliamentary sovereignty, that can be helpful. Or the term sovereign, even from there, you could have come numerous type of introductions, not one only. You could have also started that lot of features of Indian government could be seen having similarities from the British parliamentary system of government, but in regard to, यहीं पे बट घुमा के घुमा दिया, but in regard to the idea of parliamentary sovereignty, the two nations have sufficiently different approaches in spite of some similarities. उसने कहा ना compare, तो हमने बता दिया कि जी कुछ चीजें तो सेम है, पार्लियामेंट हमारे यहाँ भी है, उनका यहाँ भी, they also have, we also have lower house and upper house, they also have upper house and lower house. But if I talk about the term parliamentary sovereignty, so yes, we have given parliament the right to amend the constitution, but it is not beyond the judicial review. Question समझ में आ गया कहाँ गया है, where the question has gone? So when you will write it, you need to talk about British also. Words 150 ही हैं, words are same, words are 150 only. Is that right? So you need to start with that the two nations in regard to the system of government have three wings, one having a written constitution, one having an unwritten constitution. ठीक है, ये लिख सकते हैं सब. In terms of parliamentary functioning, UK follows Westminster model of government. Yes, it is absent there. Others, you are right. They say it is possible, but there it's not completely absent. But there they cannot strike a law. Here they can strike down a law in India. So anyway, so when you are writing it, you try to first of all compare the arrangements. They also say it is a constitutional government, we also say, but they also have sufficient powers with their parliament to amend and everything, new laws, whatever they want to amend, even the conventions. In India, Article 368 also, almost every power has been given to parliament to amend, and this has been somewhere accredited and approved by Supreme Court also by a 13-judge bench in Keshwanand Bharti case. They said, no, yes, you can amend the constitution, any part of the constitution you can amend, but you cannot alter or take away the basic structure. बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर पे क्वेश्चन कितनी बार आया है बच्चे? न्यूमरस टाइम्स, न्यूमरस, 2 बार मत कहिए मैम, घूम फिर के वहीं पहुंच जाते हैं हम. पहुंच गया बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर पे. इंडियन पार्लियामेंट्री सोवरेनिटी नीड टू बी कॉम्प्रिहेंडेड इन द लाइट ऑफ द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर थीसिस दैट सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज इवॉल्व्ड विद. वी हैव रीच्ड देयर. पार्लियामेंट्री सोवरेनिटी बेटा, उसमें नहीं, एग्जीक्यूटिव को कहां पूछ रहा है, पार्लियामेंट्री सोवरेनिटी पे जा रहा है. 150 वर्ड है ना खाली, आप समझिए आपको केसेस बताने हैं बाद में, बिकॉज दिस पर्टिकुलर आंसर विल कम इन द लाइट ऑफ केसेस ओनली, इट कैन नॉट कम अदरवाइज. ओके, आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड. अब थोड़ा सा आगे चले गए हैं, सो दोज हु हैव नॉट कवर्ड सिलेबस टिल हियर, they must be finding problem. But listen patiently, you will learn a lot, and you will also learn that writing mains answers is not at all difficult, it is very easy. इट इज मोर अबाउट कनेक्टिंग द थिंग्स. ठीक है. अब जैसे इसमें पहला सेंटेंस क्या होना चाहिए? इफ यू वांट, देखिए अलग अलग बच्चा अलग अलग इंट्रो करेगा, एक तो कर नहीं सकता, इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल. सो यू कुड हैव स्टार्टेड इट विद दैट बोथ ऑफ दीज हैव पार्लियामेंट्री गवर्नमेंट्स, बट दिस डज नॉट मीन दैट दे हैव सिमिलर अप्रोच टू पार्लियामेंट्री सोवरेनिटी. ये भी एक स्टार्टिंग बन सकती है. बोथ ऑफ देम हैव पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, but this does not mean that they have similar approach to parliamentary sovereignty, as the term parliamentary sovereignty refers to an arrangement where parliament is considered supreme in its powers and others cannot bring it down. So in UK, where unwritten constitution is there, to a great extent we may agree to it. अब ऐसे sentences को एक और चीज ध्यान रखिए, those who will be appearing next year, in such sentences never commit that yes it is there. We say we may agree, we can agree to it. ये तो discussion है ना philosophical. Like English monarch is a rubber stamp. कहीं लिखा तो है नहीं ऐसा कि that English monarch is a rubber stamp. So you may say that all the things and other things which we are having, we may agree to some extent that yes, English monarch is not having any power and that's why a rubber stamp. तो यहाँ पर क्या कहेंगे? We may agree that English Parliament is sufficiently supreme because judiciary is not having the powers to strike the laws down. However, in India, then you come to India, judiciary. The question started surfacing from Shankari Prasad case itself. अब तो बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर का क्वेश्चन है, अब क्या रखा है, तो दौड़ते जाइए, तो कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है. बट अगेन रिमेंबर, इट्स नॉट अ 250 वर्ड्स, इट्स नॉट अ 250 वर्ड्स. You have to actually talk of all the important cases where the power of parliament has been somewhere questioned and challenged. ठीक है. तो सर आप पहले देखिए, दो क्वेश्चन आ गए लगभग सेम. बिल्कुल 24th लिखो, 17th लिखो, 39th लिखो, सब लिखो. 42nd अमेंडमेंट लिखो मिनर्वा मिल्स के लिए, लिखते जाओ. एनजेक तक लिखो, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? नो प्रॉब्लम इन दैट. बट एनजेक विल नॉट बी माई पर्सनल चॉइस. इफ यू आस्क मी that striking down of NJSE, sir, will you like to write? It will not be my personal choice. I will prefer to write such examples which have actually promoted the idea of democracy, promoted the idea of other things. Yes. Okay. So the question on numerous occasions have come to Parliament. This is how we can proceed and talk about. Okay. So children, you are seeing that the questions of UPSC which are coming, they are coming in such a manner that you need to use case laws. कुछ answers में तो वो लिख देते हैं in the light of case laws, but where they are not writing also, वहाँ भी बिना case laws के कहाँ बढ़ पा रहे हैं. We are not able to actually move in a single step. G. So it means in polity answers, relevant case laws become the foundation of our answers. And don't worry, these are not impossible to write about. In Indian Parliament, Parliament are defined, limited and restrained. In Britain, no codification of justiciable fundamental rights, because they do not have written constitution. So you can write them separately or you can just finish it and come to India. India में ज़्यादा आइए. there you say, keep saying it is not possible in UK, and then talk more in India that India parliamentary sovereignty is somewhere limited. Okay, you will go and you will use in this case Keshwanand Bharti Komal Pratik, yes. You will use Keshwanand Bharti to actually support the statement which you have written in India Parliament is defined, is defined, limited and restrained. So otherwise it is free, it can change any article, anything it can change, but only thing basic structure. तो तभी तो अप्रोच की बात होगी, ऐसे नहीं लिख सकते बेटा कि ये लिमिटेड है. It is having lot of parts, but only thing that it cannot go arbitrary. If I ask you, can the parliament write a new constitution through amendments? Yes, it can be. क्या प्रॉब्लम है? Only basic structure alter नहीं हो. अगर आप इससे अच्छा लिख रहे हैं लिख दीजिए, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? क्या प्रॉब्लम है? अगर बेटर है तो फिर क्या प्रॉब्लम है? गाड़ी नहीं बदलते हो. बाकी सब बदल डालो, नो प्रॉब्लम. No, basic structure are all the principles of constitutionalism, all good principles. Okay, all good principles which were there, which will empower citizens, that only will be required. So if you find a new way to have a more decentralized arrangement of government, change part 5, change part 6, who is stopping you? Exactly, democracy, because that is also basic structure. It should not be that you change part 5 and you make a composition of Lok Sabha or something, of feudal lords or something, that will not be there. It should be in line. So anyway, अब फिर से देख लें इस 10 नंबर के क्वेश्चन को, बड़ा आसान था. Intro, going touch both of them, and the easier one could have been that both the states have parliamentary form of government. यही contrast कर दीजिए. But in regard to parliamentary sovereignty, both have sufficiently distinct approach, as one has written constitution while other has gone for unwritten constitution. In Britain, that is UK, British लिखा है. In British system, the constitution is based on conventions, unwritten norms, customs, and previously existing laws. Therefore, Parliament is having more authority, as it will not be easy for courts of law to declare something unconstitutional till the time it is not directly against the core principles of constitutional philosophy. While in Indian case, we have a written constitution, we have the powers of parliament, state legislatures and everyone have been specifically attempted to be defined. Thus, here courts of law as the custodian of the constitution can always intervene. इसके बाद इंग्लैंड का साथ छोड़ देंगे, ठीक है, क्योंकि फायदा नहीं है उसके साथ चलने में. अब जिसके पास खुद कुछ नहीं है उसके साथ क्या जाना. They are having constitutional poverty. I say England suffers from hot poverty of constitutionalism. Okay, proceed. तो उसके बाद कहां जाएंगे आप? Where will you go? नहीं लिखना मत ये सर. This is मेरा भारत मान and I keep telling. नहीं बोल सकते हो आप. As in Namaste London he was saying, you can say that you are impoverished in philosophy of the constitution. So you require aid, support from India, which will act as United Nations of Constitutionalism. But don't write, इस समझने के लिए रहनी चाहिए चीजें, ठीक है. इसके बाद बेटा अपने केसेस पे आ जाइए, दैट हाउ यू हैव रीच्ड, तो आप सेंटेंस क्या डालेंगे, दिस पर्टिकुलर आर्ग्यूमेंट कैन बी रीच्ड इन द लाइट ऑफ द फॉलोइंग केसेस. ओके, this is only the art of writing. Initially you wrote 1-2 statements and then you reach that in India why you have reached it, and then you write in points that the above argument can be reached in the light of following case judgments, and then you talk. Now how many words you have consumed? If you have consumed 60-70, it will be easier. But if you have already consumed 100 till here, because it all depends upon writing. Here I am going in very brief. You as a student may not be able to go in that brief straight. I am using lot of commas now, making complex sentences and coming out with the idea. You may not be able to use. So do not worry. Even if you have used 80 words till here or 100 words, still I have 50-60 words left. Ideally it should have been completed in 60-70, because 80 words I will like to use for cases, because that is the point where you can justify how parliamentary sovereignty in India is different, what is the approach. And this approach, sir, has not been taken out by the constitution itself, but by the judgments of Supreme Court. तो वो लिखना जरूरी हो गया. That is very important that you mention the judgment of Supreme Court. Is that right? All of us clear? So any doubts? जी, कोई शक इसे लिखने में? आसान था? मुझे बता देना कि सर ये क्वेश्चन डिफिकल्ट आया था. I will also like to appreciate, I want to tell you, UPSC is actually a very good institution that wants to make the student write. If I give very difficult questions, what will be the fun? No one will be able to write, only some by chance will be able to write. हम सारी बातें वो कर रहे हैं which, yes, are directly concerned with the society as a whole. देखिए, पहला इंडिपेंडेंट जुडिशरी और फिर सोवरेनिटी, सेम ही तो क्वेश्चन है, इन वन वे और द अदर. ओनली स्लाइड कंटेंट इज डिफरेंट, बिगिनिंग इज डिफरेंट, अदरवाइज फाइनली दे ऑल कम टू द जंक्शन एंड टेक द सेम रूट ऑफ द ट्रेन. आखिर का रूट तो सेम है. केस लॉज द सेम वाज देयर. So here a slight difference is there. Anyway, let's see another question. Discuss the role of presiding officers of state legislatures in maintaining order and impartiality in conducting legislative work and in facilitating best democratic practices. बहुत expected question था. I will give you the background. It was very expected question and we all were almost aware. Basic structure is such. No, it is not on governor, beta. No. महाराष्ट्र का तो है, ठीक है. Speaker. The question is about speaker. Presiding officer is the speaker. So first of all, they are asking, discuss the role of presiding officers of state legislatures. So Article 178 provides for the speaker and deputy speaker, and 182 for chairman and deputy chairman in the states where legislative council is also there. Okay, you need to mention 100% should go in intro straight away, because here later on I do not have chance. Here I have to tell them that yes sir, it is there in part 6th. Words जा रहे हैं तो in part 6 दो word गए. If you don't want to spend straight away under articles, you can say under article 178 the presiding officers hyphen speaker, deputy speaker, comma, of legislative assembly have been provided for, and under article 182 chairman comma deputy chairman of legislative council in the states where they have it have been provided for. ठीक है, स्ट्रेट अवे आप अगला पॉइंट लिखेंगे फंक्शनिंग पे. These officials are expected to be impartial in their functioning. They need to maintain first decorum of the house, to see that rules of business are followed in the house. Next point. So these are pointers we will write. Okay. Third, to ensure that the bills are taken up and the house functioning is as per the spirit of the constitution and the rules of business. Fourth, to appoint parliamentary committees to constitute legislative committees. वहाँ पे legislative committees हो जाएगा. In regard to financial conduct, because public accounts committee, estimates committee वहाँ पे भी होंगी. That is also their job. They should conduct. Good spirit, no worries. It is not going there, na? ठीक है. So they will be providing for it. When you have written these 5 points, then you come out, decides whether a money bill or not, that's right, but that will be better only for speaker. Komalpreet, if you are writing this, then you will talk of that speaker in Lok Sabha, that is legislative assembly, यहाँ पे legislative assembly use करेंगे, will also have the power, final power to decide whether it is a money bill or not. But let me see, the question was, जो most important point डालना है, that the presiding officer is the authority in regard to schedule 10 anti-defection decisions. Right, sir? So now you got it where the question was asked. The question was asked, as in May, Apex Court, that is Supreme Court, asked the Speaker of Maharashtra Legislative Assembly to decide on the issue of disqualification of MLAs. Got it? You are connecting it with it now, huh? So that was the reason for the question. So it means it should not be left with. You know what we were expecting? UPSC made it easy. We were expecting that they will simply put a speaker in regard to schedule 10. But they wanted that the student should be able to at least write something. So, yes. So they have gone for it. So here you will go, as a presiding officer, the speaker is expected to be neutral and impartial. Correct, sir? But as said by Supreme Court, in the case related to Kerala, in the case related to Maharashtra also, the tendency to continue as a member of a political party is the biggest issue in regard to the decision making of a speaker in terms of disqualification. And for this reason, Apex Court has asked Parliament also to see that whether it will be fair for the speaker to be the deciding authority or the presiding officer to be the deciding authority in regard to question of disqualification under anti-defection law. This was the question. This was the question. Conducting legislative work and in facilitating best democratic practices. So what is the best democratic practice? That all the members, okay, are allowed to really present, to really express, that is where we have written first point, to maintain the decorum, to ensure that the house is run as per the spirit of democracy. ठीक है, ऐसे बन जाएगा. And then you will write the issues. Main issue बेटा money bill भी है, that is also has been there, but main issue is of anti-defection at present. That also you can write, Komal, you are not wrong, but then you just mention speaker, because we have written chairperson also, so presiding officer, that is also a presiding officer, then in case of that you can talk and it will be easy. So see, 10 markers are straight, they are not difficult at all. Okay, if they would have taken it to schedule 10, then what would have been required? Description and mention of schedule 10. Still article 178 and 182 would have been required, still those articles would have been required. Yes, but then schedule 10 discussion was important. Yes, 91st Amendment Act 2003, absolutely right, could have been written. Okay, so they can ask you that whether the time has come that we should amend the anti-defection law, something like this they can ask you. Next time, abhi to ye question aa gaya. So if you have written something around it, it is all okay. Rest is how I am making here, but do not worry, I am teacher. So for me it is easy that it can be intro, it can be starting, then you write these points. You as students, even if you have been able to push something around it, you will get good marks, because question was focused there, but essentially should have talked about Supreme Court also in this case, that would have benefited. ये देखते हैं भाई क्या है. The crucial aspect of development process has been the inadequate attention paid to human resource development in India. दो क्वेश्चन पूछे हैं सर इस बार, अगला एक बार स्किल डेवलपमेंट पे पूछ लिया आगे. Whatever they are there, so in pairs, one is this, and then in 15 marks again they have asked. This is the question number 6, so still we are in 10 marker. And then again they have asked in 15 marks about skill, that how education, skill and employment are connected. आगे पढ़ेंगे वो क्वेश्चन. अभी कह रहा है द क्रूशियल एस्पेक्ट ऑफ डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस हैज बीन द इनएडिक्वेट अटेंशन पेड टू ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डेवलपमेंट इन इंडिया. So first of all you will ask yourself, do I agree with it? Whether we have not given sufficient attention to human development process in India, whether we have not done human resource development in India. So first of all it is, will you agree with it? जो जरूरी नहीं है एग्री करना, इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी. नहीं, क्वेश्चन एक और आपको बता रहा हूं कहां पूछा है. देयर वॉज 6-7 years back, now 10 years back, there was a report which said that almost initially they said 87% of the engineers, and then they brought it down to 73% of the engineers are not employable. So a question surfaced of employability. Employability, okay? So this question was somewhere asking that do you agree that in India sufficient or adequate emphasis has not been given on human resource development? So I will not like to agree with it. We may say that yes, there have been challenges on certain occasions, that even the educated individuals have not been able to find employment. But it does not mean, or a plain statement cannot be made, that we have not given attention to it. Establishment of IITs starting from 1950s, establishment of IIMs, RECs from the same late 1950s, then universities, institutionalization of UGC, University Grants Commission, NCTE, formation of bodies like Indian Medical Commission, previously it was MCI. Somewhere say that almost in every sector of engineering, medical, accounts, we focused and we had authorities as well. However, in regard to curriculum and the training that has been there, some questions have been raised. ठीक है, पहले समझा रहा हूं, अभी लिख नहीं रहे हैं, ये लिखेंगे तो you should have the background, what the question is. So you will say, suggest measures that can address this inadequacy. So measures will be what? In engineering colleges, if it is, then industry based curriculum, okay. More interaction, points कैसे बनाएंगे? More interaction between practitioners and philosophers of the same trade. अब बढ़िया पॉइंट बन गया. More interaction or exchanges between practitioners means engineers and philosophers of the same trade. Like you are the HOD of mechanical engineering department and someone is the production in charge in Tata Motors. You should have sufficient interaction so that you know what should be taught. Or someone is in Siemens, okay, general manager productions, so should be having sufficient connection with those who are in electronics or others, so that they know what need to be taught. तो एक पॉइंट तो ये बन जाएगा. That is what you can make. Suggest measures में देखो, अगर कभी क्वेश्चन पूछता है मेजर्स, तो भाई कम से कम 5-6 जाने चाहिए. नहीं पूछा है, अपनी श्रद्धा से लिख रहे हो तो 3-4 भी चलता है, बट अदरवाइज इतने जाने चाहिए. ओके, so let us once again start the question and then reach one by one where we need to talk about. ठीक है, so you will say that human resource development is a crucial dimension for any society, and government of India right from beginning somewhere has focused on it, and the establishment of I just talked about IITs, IIMs, RECs, okay, medical colleges, universities, lot of educational institutions can be seen as a solid evidence to it. Authorities to control or regulate the system were also provided. UGC establishment, that also can be there, something like UGC, Medical Council of India, okay, and others were provided under the Ministry of Human Resource Development, correct? However, it has been said that in few institutions only employability is achieved, as in many universities the curriculum taught is not of straight practical usage in the job market. Okay, sir? A report of NASSCOM, if you want to write, you write, otherwise don't, has raised the question on employability of engineers and said that a good size of engineers produced by engineering colleges in India are not employable, and it will require a huge financial burden on the institution to first of all train them to make them employable, correct? So then you can say that the suggestions for it can be to bridge the gap between what is required and what is taught. And now you come to suggestions. 10 मार्कर ही चल रहा है, तो इट इज सफिशिएंट. अब सजेशंस पे आ जाइए. तो नंबर 1 will be, how do you bridge the gap? You bridge the gap by having an interaction between the philosophers and practitioners of the trade. Okay, like do you think that in medical colleges also some sort of, like IIT Kharagpur is coming up, that's why I am giving the example, some sort of technology orientation shall be there? Yes, robotic surgery, lot of things are there nowadays. Who will suggest better in regard to the design of robot which will actually be competent to carry out surgery? Who? The one who is having knowledge of two fields, and that is the program of IIT Kharagpur. Mention it. IIT Kharagpur, they are coming out with the MBBS, unique MBBS program which is technology laden, and I don't think it is wrong, it's very good idea. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि डॉक्टर साहब को MRI भी यूज नहीं करना आता है, बस देखना आता है. It should be there. What's wrong in it? Yes, and because how will you make recommendations till the time you do not understand both the things? You need to understand both the fields. You need to understand what can be the limitations of this and what can be the augmentations which are possible. Internships can be written 100%. Okay, so when you are talking of human resource development, you also need to talk that it has to be in a multi-level and multifaceted manner. I cannot just simply give the example of IITs, I need to give the example of ITIs also. Training centers in the rural areas, that also need to be upgraded. I also need to mention of our universities, their curriculum should also be made vocation based. So along with it, that also should be provided. Clear? Then internships, regular survey, opportunity for both to work in one another field, like in America beta, it was John C. Honey report. लगभग वही क्वेश्चन पूछा हुआ है. हाँ, बट डोंट यूज इट. याद रह जाएगा तो एग्जामिनर, बड़ी अच्छी बात है, बट द बेसिक थिंग वाज हाउ डू यू ब्रिज द गैप between the two when I work in your area and you work in my area. Let the practitioners also teach, become educators in colleges, and similarly let the professors go and see the actual industry functioning. Am I right? How can you teach without being the knowledge of both the domains of that? So we need to have programs like that. ये उन्होंने पूछा था. Any problems in it? Okay, but it is more associated with human resource development. See, if only this question would have been there, I would have included Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana and everything in it, but unfortunately there is a 15 marker later on the very same thing. तो अब मैंने क्या किया, अपना कुछ सामान बचा कर रख लिया कि यार आगे भी वही क्वेश्चन है. हाउ कैन आई राइट एग्जैक्टली द सेम आंसर, बट फ्रेमवर्क सेम है. दैट्स द ब्यूटी. हियर ओनली दे हैव आस्क्ड इन अ नेगेटिव कॉनोटेशन मैनर, लेटर दे मे बी आस्किंग इन अ डिफरेंट मैनर. Of course you will be reading all the questions, because sometimes answer to one question is in later questions. What do you want? Increase. AC. It's not working now. Please make it cooler. Come this side, please. Now, sir, this is again a question which many of you, these are the questions like NALSA, like CCI, where many of you may not be having prior information. Okay? And yes, these are the questions which, if you are not very clear with it, you will not be able to write. But fortunately, only this question was of that nature. So out of 20, only one was there. 1 hour, the sir who will be discussing IR, rest he will see in his area. But in my area, only one was there, which requires very specific information. ठीक है, कुछ तो कहानी लिख ही सकते हैं. आप कहेंगे कंपटीशन की, हाँ सर फेयर कंपटीशन होना चाहिए. It will actually stop any sort of cartelization and all. इतनी कहानी तो लिख सकते हैं, but not more than that. It will be difficult. Let's see. Discuss the role of Competition Commission of India in containing the abuse of dominant position by the multinational corporations in India. Refer to the recent decisions. ये इसलिए मुश्किल था. That Google वाला तो चलिए याद है हमें. We could have mentioned, okay, that they have asked Google and they have imposed penalties. But many others, if you remember, if you are going through newspapers regularly, then only you will be able to remember. Like they also checked Amazon from its investment in Future Group, saying that you need to first of all clarify on these aspects. That's right. So, an act to provide the view of economic development of the country, that is all. You cannot write in the examination all this, it is just to understand that why this act actually is to ensure an economic arrangement that is fair enough, which is finally oriented towards कहाँ होगा, interest of consumers, oriented towards people, okay. And then to eliminate practices having adverse effects on competition. Easy thing. This will be the function of that commission, to give opinion on competition issues, to undertake competition advocacy, consumer welfare. 2-3 बना सकते हो अपने आप, बाकी अगर पढ़े हुए हैं तो ही याद रहेंगे, otherwise you will not be able to make. Okay, but 2, 3, 4 you can easily make. This is one aspect. So, you can make the answer like this. More important here is what? Cases. These are the ones. This could have been asked there also. Economy का क्वेश्चन लग रहा है ना, लेकिन यहाँ पूछ लिया. Why? Because it is also a statutory body. It is also a statutory body. So they asked it. See, why you are only limited to Lakshmikant? Limit to India and Indian government institutions. That's a good book. That's not a bad book. But it will have definitely certain limitations, and even if it is there, I don't think it would have mentioned in this detail. In the 2 part बोल दिए, what are its functions, and then do you think it has been able to do, and in the light of cases, that is the decisions it has given. Yes. So, but this is only one question. This is one of the questions. The question number is 7. So 10 marker only. तो ज़्यादा लॉस नहीं होता, बिकॉज स्टिल इफ यू वुड हैव मेंशन्ड समथिंग 2 नंबर तो निकाल ले जाते हैं आप. बट केसेस आर रिक्वायर्ड. तो केसेस आई विल से विच यू कुड हैव बीन रिमेंबरिंग. ये याद हो सकता था 2015 बिकॉज इट वॉज ऑल्सो अ वन wherein cargo fare they started charging. Indigo and 3 airlines they came together. ये बहुत न्यूज में रहा था. This you could have remembered. That myself I am saying these you could have and you could have not. This was the one which should have come. ये न्यूज में रहा था. Lot of. Then Cellular Operators Association, ये न्यूज में रहा था. When Reliance Jio has gone against them. Then Disney Fox deal, maybe बहुत बड़ा न्यूज में नहीं था, if you ask me, but this was in news. Gujarat. Actually in Gujarat what was there? The chemist associations, okay, 4 or 5 chemist associations were there. They said that any one new druggist first of all need to take their NOC. CCI said it is against the principle and even against the constitution. Right to profession. Government has mandated that you should be a graduate in chemistry. That's all. Now, who is the association? It's a private body. How you can enter into it? So they said that it is nothing but a sort of cartelization. ये भी न्यूज में रहा था बेटा. This was also in news. For many days it was there. Then Google, ये हम सबको पता था. This has been in news twice. That's what I am saying. हाँ जी, मैंने क्या कहा बेटा, ये उस तरह का क्वेश्चन है. That is at present I am teaching you. It's easy for me. You appeared in the exam straight away. बस एक बहुत था, 3 नंबर मिल गए, काम खत्म हुआ. हर क्वेश्चन में थोड़ी 5-6 नंबर ले लोगे. Oh yes, 2-3 marks you could have taken as soon as. वो भी बेटा बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट था, जो कार्गो में उन्होंने फ्यूल सरचार्ज लगाया था. That was also in news like anything. मैडम ये बार बार न्यूज में आ जाता है अभी भी. If you will see na, any day you will see DGCA and all passing orders that has been referred to, but only 2 or 3 I was expecting. इससे ज़्यादा तो चांस ही नहीं. आपको कैसे मालूम होगा? How will you be knowing? These cases only will be known to the person who presents himself on regular basis to Competition Commission of India. Otherwise even I will not be knowing. Only the one which are covered extensively by newspapers can be known. ठीक है? So yes Adarsh, CCI could have been to break any sort of monopoly and to prevent any sort of cartelization. That would have been the first part, my child. But then the second part would have been requiring case laws or cases, that is the judgments which they have given, not Supreme Court. These are the judgments of Competition Commission of India only, the orders which they have passed. Okay, got it? So it was a very specific question and not that easy to answer. अभी तो बहुत आसान है कहना, it was an easy question. But in the examination hall, writing so many cases is not possible. See, Competition Commission of India, you could have written something. Like our friends are also talking breaking monopoly, you can also use the word cartelization वगैरह, है ना, पढ़ते रहते हैं तो सब. But number, second part क्या था? In the light of decisions. और आधा आधा बटा हुआ होगा. 5 marks for how the UPSC would have given credits to it. 5 marks for first part and 5 marks for cases. 2 to 3 is possible. If you write well, 2 to 3 is possible. 2 marks in first part and 1 mark in second part. That is still possible. 0 नहीं है. Question should not be left. आसान question है. It's not that you are unaware totally. It's not that type of question this time. Not even a single question was that you are unaware completely. E-governance as a critical tool of governance has assured in effectiveness, transparency and accountability in governments. So you will talk about e-governance. Straight away you know what is e-governance. What is it? Application of ICT in the functioning of government is termed as e-governance. ICT we understand, sir? What is it? Information, very good. So this is the basic definition, one line it should have gone. That e-governance in its basic thing refers to application of ICT tools in the functioning of government. It has the essential function of facilitating on time and space. Where it facilitates? On time and space. There it facilitates. Okay? And then you can say it gives a quick connection to the people. That is, the users can directly be connected with the government. So interface, technology as the interface can remove levels and can directly connect. It can also bring transparency, likha hua hi hai. It can also make discharge of the applications in a time bound manner. ठीक है, बढ़िया हो गया यहाँ तक तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. अब आगे पूछ रहा है what are its issues. So we all know what can be the issues. First is digital divide. That's right. Then digital literacy. How much you used, how much you are used to it. See, using WhatsApp is not digital literacy. Or able to watch movies on smartphone or anything is not digital literacy. Digital literacy is that you know how to connect it using this technology or tool with the government, and that requires some sort of training. So inadequacy of that can be a problem. तो ये कहाँ से शुरू होगा inadequacies में? That considering a large size of population in India lives in rural India as well. So digital divide can be the first challenge. That's right. Then digital literacy. How much we are trained or we have trained our people to use ICT as an interface to connect with the government. Then third, whether at the level of government the laws have been suitably amended that they can actually use it as a single window clearance on the basis of ICT arrangements only. Back end भी तो computerized होना चाहिए पूरा. Till the time your back end is not completely computerized, how will you be able to actually process the things? So it requires a good level of IT infrastructure. Then issues of connectivity, which to a large extent have been addressed by 4G and 5G networks which are advancing. Okay, साथ साथ लिखते भी जाएंगे. So inadequacies can be of what types? One, amongst the people, one of the infrastructure type, and second in the department. Are you ready? See, the teacher is here but the student is not ready. So, and first of all teacher should also be ready. तो यहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स भी हो जाएंगे. That do they really want to be e-governance oriented or they only want to be e-government oriented? ये सेंटेंस लिख के आएंगे that there is a big difference between e-government and e-governance. So using computers within the department of the government is different thing, but allowing an interface to the other is a different thing. Is that right? Are we getting it? Okay. ये कुछ ऐसा था, यहाँ पे आप एक छोटा सा डायग्राम भी बना सकते थे. ओके वैसे तो कई जगह बना सकते थे हम कनेक्ट करके, दैट व्हाट इज देयर, बट इन दिस इट इज ऑलवेज गुड because I have seen the DATI and all, now METI it is, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, they at several places have used it. What they make is, they connect the government with its database, okay, and they give citizens and others an interface with it. Give citizens and others. Here you must be aware that e-governance is studied, but as it is question number 8, 10 marker only, so you will not get that much chance to talk about, okay. Otherwise आपने word पढ़े होंगे G2C government to citizens, G2B government to business, G2E government to employees and G2G government to government, वो इधर हैं वो सारे. So they are here. So in this only you could have written that this is G2C, G2B, G2E and G2G. तो डायग्राम से आप बना सकते थे, छोटा सा दिखा सकते थे, so that you would have communicated in a quick thing. So when you give this interface to them, so they, ये क्या है बेटा, दिस इज ई गवर्नमेंट, जो इस लाल डिब्बे के अंदर है, टिल द टाइम इट इज ई गवर्नमेंट. इट बिकम्स ई गवर्नेंस ओनली व्हेन it covers like this. Green one is e-governance, otherwise only red it was e-government. Clear? So problems we know. दो तीन चीजों में प्रॉब्लम ढूंढ लीजिए. वन, in the how connectivity will take place. So we had various projects related to rural broadband, urban broadband, we had various projects. So if you can talk about them, it will be great. Mention of Digital India program, okay. If you want to talk 10 number mein, you can talk from your any GP in the times earlier, 2006, 2007, National E-Governance Plan, लिख सकते हैं, but you can only name that our emphasis on e-governance has been from that time. And sir, second ARC's complete report was on e-governance. 11th report is completely on e-governance only. Is that right? But only mention, because here it is a 10 marker. More importantly, you need to talk about what are the problem areas. So problems will be in three aspects. ढूंढिए. One will be in the government itself, that is in transmission and all, okay. So digital divide, digital infrastructure, इसकी प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है पहली. So you can write 2-3 points with it. Digital infrastructure. Second problem beta, lack of initiative with the government. They don't want to go online. That is also there. Lack of initiative at the end of government. And last one, digital literacy will be an issue. That you can also write. That also is a challenge. वो अलग से बनाइएगा. बट डिजिटल लिटरेसी और इक्विपमेंट अब इसमें कॉस्ट डाल सकते हैं. इट इज स्टिल अ कॉस्ट. करेक्ट. द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया इज अ लिविंग इंस्ट्रूमेंट. Oh God, repeated how many times? And that too in a 15 marker. Lottery is a living instrument with capabilities of enormous dynamism it is a constitution made for a progressive society. खुद ही लिख भी दिया कि भैया इस लाइन पे लिखना आंसर. Don't get confused. So easy one. Friends, illustrate with special emphasis on the expanding horizons of right to life and personal liberty. So they have also given which case laws you need to talk. उन्हें भी मालूम है बच्चों के पास इतने केस हैं that examiner will go out. So they said go on right to life and go on personal liberty. ये बेटा हर बार आएगा. This is type of question which will keep coming. So what is living thing, sir? Which is having the ability to respond to its environment. So Indian Constitution is a living entity, not a dead letter or any static document. It is a sensitive document that is having the ability to adopt itself and adapt itself to the concerns of the society. Is that right? So when you will start the answer with living instrument. That the idea of living constitution clearly highlights the ability of the Indian Constitution to adapt itself to the challenges of the society and to become a document which can guide the welfare of the people and can become the bedrock for democracy and independent judiciary. ठीक है? So how it has? Now you will go for it when you enter into it, that what has been, how it has been a progressive arrangement. So progressive is what, sir? That you leave away, give away those practices which have been unnecessarily restricting you. Okay? So लिस्ट बनाते हैं पहले केस की, बाद में ऑर्डर में क्रोनोलॉजी में लिख देंगे. शायरा बानो कैन कम, पुट्टू स्वामी केस कैन कम, दैट्स राइट. राइट टू लाइफ, मेनका गांधी केस कैन कम, easier ones. Personal liberty, talk about personal liberty. ABC versus NCT of Delhi. और बताइए, स्टेट ऑफ केरला से कुछ केसेस लीजिए एक दो. That you can take. 66A, that you can take. तो नाम बताना पड़ेगा ना, जो था क्या होता है. बिजॉय मैनुअल, बिजॉय मैनुअल, इससे कैसे काम चलेगा. नो वरीज, नो वरीज. तो ज्यादा मुश्किल नहीं है, 5-6 तो आ चुके होंगे केस. ओके, दे आर ऑलरेडी विद यू, दे आर ऑलरेडी विद यू. एंड देन if you want, you can use, but again the issue is, again a question is there where you need to talk about those cases. Otherwise, if only this question would have been there, I would have used Navtej Johar and Joseph Shine here only. But abhi fir se bacha ke rakh liya, because again a question is coming where those cases need to be used. So around the judicial functioning for promoting the well-being, rights, democracy of the people, the paper has been associated. Clear? Not a big deal in answering this question. आ गया सर, अगला ही केस है. Explain the constitutional perspective of gender justice with the help of relevant constitutional provisions and case laws. ठीक है. यूपीएससी ने बच्चों से कहा तुम 7-8 केस याद करके आते हो ना, देखो हम 4-5 क्वेश्चन देंगे, अब देखो तुम्हारा क्या होगा, हाउ यू यूज देम। तो इट मीन्स आपको 10-12 याद होंगे तब तो काम बनेगा। अब 6 ही पूरी लेके आए तो बढ़ गई पहले, अब उनसे वापस लेके आगे देंगे या तो। So sir, it was also a great question, a fantastic one, but here I will say, please focus. Here we will also talk of 497 and 377, because that is also LGBTQ, correct? That is also gender justice only. Please do not limit it to justice towards women only. This was the only catch in this question. इस क्वेश्चन का कैच ही ये है। And then please sir, bring it to the level of where you will take it, Ministry of Defense, कुछ नहीं है, Ministry of Defense and बबीता पुनिया, वहां तक लेके आना है। Anyway, let me help you. Let me help you. हाँ ओके बैठिए, अच्छा नहीं ठीक है बैठिए, कोई बात नहीं, कर दीजिए सर। See sir, they are saying constitutional perspective. Quickly see what should have been written here. Indian Constitution clearly provides Article 15, Article 16, Article 15 and 16, and then Article 23 provides for Article 29 that on the basis of sex no discrimination shall be there. 100% you can. तो बस ये देखना है पीछे से कौन से बचे हुए हैं वो यहां लिख देंगे, ठीक है। राइट टू मैरी बाय वंस ओन चॉइस वो भी आ जाएगा। हादिया केस याद है? आ जाएगा ना यहाँ पे, बिल्कुल आ जाएगा। हादिया वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ केरला, that is also will come. So here what they are saying, सबसे पहले constitutional, तो सर आर्टिकल 15, आर्टिकल 16, आर्टिकल 23, देन बेटा आर्टिकल 39, वहां पे भी था ना, that women and men shall be given equal salary, ठीक है सर, वो आ गया, करेक्ट। आफ्टर इट नाउ वेयर डू यू ट्रेवल? Now you travel to case laws. So you will mention that Constitution of India is a document that right from its beginning has believed in gender equality and has attempted everything to ensure that on the basis of gender there is no discrimination. Various articles or various constitutional provisions like Article 15, Article 16, comma, you cannot mention, अच्छा 11 नंबर है, कर भी सकते हो, ये सेक्शंस हैं आईपीसी, वो अलग से केसेस है ना, केस लॉज में पढ़ेंगे वो, दैट विल बी इन केस लॉज, ओके। कार्नल इंटरकोर्स है ना, कार्नल इंटरकोर्स, अननेचुरल सेक्स 377, 497 एडल्ट्री, अभी आएंगे उस पर, बट उनको एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ेगा, अपने आप नहीं, अपने आप आंसर चला जाएगा, यू विल हैव टू एक्सप्लेन। तो एनीवे, अब केस लॉज में चले जाएंगे आप, विच शुड बी टेकन हियर, दी कुशपाल सिंह परिहार, शायरा बहनों के शाहबानो you can definitely take, but my child, gender justice is not only limited to women, it is for everyone, it is for everyone, and that is where we need to talk about others also. So women justice, good, you are aware and you are talking, but he has given that what type of case laws we want, which are promoting gender justice, that's all. So Sabrimala, one is allowed, other is not allowed, can be a good case. पहले basket बना लेते हैं, then I will put them in chronology. Okay, Sabrimala case is a good one. One is allowed, that is males are allowed, but women in a particular age group are not allowed. So clear cut discrimination on the basis of sex, sorry, it's a sort of untouchability, and we will use this case. It has gone afar in gender justice. Then Babita Punia case versus Secretary Ministry of Defence, that women cannot get permanent commission in army or forces. Supreme Court here clearly observed that all such rules which are discriminatory to this extent shall be done away with, as they are unconstitutional. Okay, they violate Article 14, Article 15, Article 16 and Article 21. ठीक है सर, बबीता पुनिया भी हो गया. Then Vishakha case, that also you can talk about, which has become a landmark judgment. अभी मैंने chronology में नहीं दिए हैं, आपको लिखना सिखा रहा हूँ, how do you recall. And now you will say, sir, apart from them, चलिए women, these are stated with. Then gender justice. Then I will come to adultery issue, 497. Joseph Shine, a resident of India who was living in Italy. From there he filed a PIL under Article 32, that it is unfair that the women is considered as the property of husband, and even a consensual sex between two adults will be declared unlawful or a crime if husband reports to it. Okay, so sir, they said how husband can report? It means wife is the, either you say that it is a crime straight away, finished, that married couples cannot have extramarital relations. दूसरा case लड़ेंगे, then it will be different. But here it is, if the husband has allowed his wife to have consensual sex with another man, then no problem. How is it? This is wrong. It means women is shown a property of husband. So Justice Indu Malhotra clearly stated that this section is discriminatory and is against the essentials of equality and constitutional principles. Done away with, एक case हो गया. Then second case, Navtej Johar. This case, children, is associated with section 377. It is Navtej Johar and others versus Union of India. See sir, in this case, what was highlighted was that even consensual relationship between two males is considered a crime, because carnal sex, CARNAL, is considered unnatural sex and is declared a crime. So somewhere it is taking away the right to body of individuals, and that is why this section shall be done away with. So this you can say that it gave freedom to some extent of that LGBTQ rights, na, that you can talk about. तो अब आपके पास कितने केसेस हो गए? शाह बानो, शायरा बानो. इफ यू वांट टू राइट शायरा बानो, आई विल से डेफिनेटली यू शुड राइट, क्योंकि उस पर लॉ भी बना. शाह बानो केस वाज द फर्स्ट वन, and Rajiv Gandhi government reversed it with an amendment. So I will not prefer that. If words are less, rather I will prefer to write other cases which bring the idea of justice. Right, sir? Any doubts? No? Clear? Account for the legal and political factors responsible for the reduced frequency of using Article 356 by the Union governments since mid-90s. Straight away the question is on S.R. Bommai judgment. Article 356 refers to President's rule. Okay, Article 356 refers to President's rule. They are saying that which was often used so earlier. Later on what has happened? So two things they are asking. दो factors बताओ. One the political and one the judicial. So in judicial will be that judiciary issued strict guidelines in regard to implementation of Article 356, and S.R. Bommai judgment became the landmark judgment of it. Okay, this you will go, and later also whenever it has been taken, like in Himachal Pradesh the governor's decision, whenever it has been taken the implementation of Article 356, it has never been taken with all arms open by the judiciary. As they have said, it should be the resort of last resort. It should be used as the last resort, should not be the first thing, and should not be used as a political tool. You should justify it. The decision should be justified. The governor's communication to the union government also should be justified. Clear, friends? And then you come to political factors. एक तो legal हो गया, it has become difficult, and second political. Coalition governments, state governments, that is regional parties, have been having a good say in the center, at least in Rajya Sabha. And as approval of Article 356 requires approval of both the houses, so that has prevented. Stopped. How will you use? You use it. So maximum time is 2 months. Within that you have to get it approved from both the houses. Otherwise it will not be. Political पूछ रहा है ना बेटा. So what will be political factors? Coalition regime, coalition governments. Then you will say, okay sir, in last 2 terms it has been a clear-cut majority government. Then sir, then no majority in Rajya Sabha. How will you get it approved? So दो चीजें रोक रही हैं. What has been preventing? So here you can also draw that Article 356 implementation blocked by. So if I try to go for implementation blocked by what? 2 types of factors blocked. They do not allow it to reach the states. One is legal factors, S.R. Bommai case, and the other is political factors. Coalition regime. Second, rise of regional parties, and because they come in good number at state level, so they have good representation in Rajya Sabha. Change of overall political environment, where even if you are winning elections at center, you cannot afford to go against मेजॉरिटी ऑफ रीजनल पार्टीज, एक या दो से चल जाएगा सर, बाकी उसे सबसे नहीं, because then it will be impossible for you to have your legislations passed. That was the question. Easy? It was an easy question. 15 नंबर में अभी तक एक भी मुश्किल क्वेश्चन नहीं है. That is what the best part is. राज्यसभा में कैसे अप्रूव कराइएगा? हाउ विल यू गेट इट अप्रूव्ड इन राज्यसभा? Ratification. See, any sort of order under Article 356 need to be ratified in both the houses of parliament. Starting तो article से ही करोगे. Article 356 as provided in part 18th of the Indian Constitution provides for president's rule in the state in the event of failure of constitutional machinery there. This article has attracted lot of attention and has been an infamous one, as in 1960s, 70s and 80s it was used extensively whenever the political party in the state used to be different from the central government party. This was used, but this scenario changed. Write it. ये सीख जाएंगे, अभी आपका हो सकता है सिलेबस ना हुआ, so those who are online and have completed, you must be finding it very easy. It was a cakewalk, but this was a question where you should have scored not less than 8 marks or 9 marks out of 15. ये cakewalk questions हैं. इससे पहले वाला भी, if I see this one also, gender justice, क्योंकि केस लॉज बहुत हैं, यू कैन स्कोर इजीली. दिस वन ऑल्सो. तो 3 क्वेश्चंस ऐसे आए हैं आउट ऑफ 15 वेयर एवरेज ऑफ 8 एसेंशियली शुड हैव बीन मेंटेन्ड. ओके, एक ऐसा आया था जहां 2 या 3 नंबर भी बहुत थे. कंपटीशन कमीशन. दिस वी आर थ्रू. Discuss contribution of civil society groups for women's effective and meaningful participation and representation in state legislatures in India. Now, it is a question of governance. What it requires, that you should know what is a civil society. Civil society simply means citizens associations, associations of citizens. Okay, G, active participation. Here we actually talked about in the empowerment. You can draw that diagram also in brief, that on this side is government or formal institutions, and this side is individuals and families. That's right. So in India, as women have been more limited to their families, who will give them confidence that they can have public appearance? शाबाश, लिख सकते हो, बिल्कुल लिख सकते हो. But other associations also, lot of NGOs also, which have helped the women to regain their confidence. But why the question has been asked? Because government will not be able to reach here. So it is the CSIs which provides a bridge arrangement between the two. Bridge arrangement between the two. Civil society institutions. यही तो पूछा है उन्होंने. आई नहीं लिखा बस वहां पे. बेसिक से देखो, वो चाहते हैं सब कुछ ना कुछ लिख पाए. दैट इज व्हाट दे वांट. ओके, द पेपर इज, you will find everyone happy. this year. Yes. अब वो जो अब कितने केसेस आपको याद हैं, कितना कॉन्सेप्ट याद है, वो तो देखिए. Definitely the one who is better than others should be scored higher. This is justice also. Everyone shall be getting his or her due. That is always correct. So they actually wanted, कितनी क्लैरिटी है बेटा आपको, जो इस चीज को समझ गया इस डायग्राम को, can easily write, because this diagram is actually telling for you whether CSI is required. No, you are already empowered, you are educated. For whom NGO is more required? Those who lack in confidence are sitting in their houses. Those who have fear, those who are afraid, those who are not sure of their performance, whether they will be able to make any performance or not. So for them who are actually vulnerable, for them civil society institutions can be very good, because initially I ask you to come in my group. When you start participating, you develop confidence and you start knowing I can participate at higher levels as well. So that is representation in state legislatures in India. Okay. Weaker sections, women को कहेंगे हम, that is what we will be saying. Women पे है ना, तो weaker मत कहिए, vulnerable, who have been kept away due to patriarchal values. To give them confidence, who can be more handy? NGOs. Otherwise it will be very difficult. Or associations of women only, which they may be creating at their own level. For example, SHGs, that has given them financial independence also in so many areas. Clear? Explain the significance of 101st Constitutional Amendment Act. This everyone will prepare, क्योंकि Constitution से ही है. It is about GST. Okay, Article 269A, Article 279A, only these you are expected to know. Something, if you are aware of the functioning of GST Council and some decision making there, that would have been better if you know it. Otherwise, the question is about that only, that in fiscal federalism, how it is there, to what extent it reflects the accommodative spirit of federalism. GST Council से आ जाएगा. Why? Because in GST Council, what is there? Any decision making can be made by 3/4 of majority. अब देखिए खास बात, central government is seen given the weightage of 1/3 majority and 2/3 of the weightage is with states. Are you getting? Neither states alone can take a decision, because decision is required is 3/4, and definitely center also cannot make a decision on its own. That's right. तो ये आपको प्रोविजन याद होना चाहिए था. Without it, that's right. Here we have not studied. I am online now. So those who have already appeared, they definitely have gone through. I am trying to talk that 269A, if you are not remembering, chalega. But 279A, if you are not remembering, you cannot answer this question. You need to know the functioning of GST Council. Then only you can answer the accommodative spirit of federalism here. Okay. Otherwise, you can talk about that it has brought sharing of revenues, आ गया, simplified tax structure, sharing of revenues, avoid cascading effects, input of tax credit, interstate trade is facilitated. सब आसान है ये. It's not difficult. Anyone who has just gone through it will remember it. Only thing that was important to be remembered in it was what? 3/4 and 1/3, that concept. सिंप्लीफाई हो गया वो, ठीक है, ये तो लिख दोगे, लेकिन वो पूछ रहा ना अकोमोडेटिव स्पिरिट ऑफ फेडरलिज्म, हाँ वो पढ़कर आ जाएगा. बट दोज हु हैव अपीयर्ड, फॉर देम आई एम सेइंग there is a clause that every decision making will be taken in GST Council with 3/4 of weightage, okay, with 3/4 of weightage, and then they have mentioned there, in this regard central government's weightage will be considered as 1/3, while 2/3 of the weightage will be of states. So there you can say it means none of the side can make a decision on its own. So it definitely provides for accommodative spirit of federalism in a fiscal domain. Then sharing of revenues, all this you can talk about. ठीक है, easy one, not difficult, it's an easy question. 15 marks, this is also something where you should have scored not less than 7 and 8. This is also of that nature. But if you write superficially, आपने देखा ये कोई भी क्वेश्चन ऐसा नहीं था, none of the question was where you could have answered it superficially. Is that right? Explain the structure of parliamentary committee system. Now we are moving toward the end of polity, okay? So explain the structure of the parliamentary committee system. How far have the financial committees helped in the institutionalization of Indian Parliament? So the question is of nature very easy. All the students go through parliamentary committees. What is the committee arrangement? Starting of the answer will be parliamentary committees are constituted under rules of business in both the houses for facilitating the functioning of the houses. Okay, these committees are constituted to share the burden of the houses in regard to detailed analysis of the business that comes to the houses and to help the house to reach a detailed researched opinion in this regard. They also ensure cooperation between the groups, as in a larger house sometimes cooperation and consensus may not be achieved, but in a smaller group on the basis of consensus research, they may reach a common opinion. So it brings cooperation, element of consensus, element of cooperation, element of research. अब ये तो हो गई बात शुरू की. Let's talk now in the light of some parliamentary committees. So department related standing committees, and then finally you will come to financial ones, that is public accounts committee, estimates committee and committee on public undertakings. Okay, तो कौन सी कमेटी नहीं भूलनी चाहिए, which you should definitely mention? वो तो फाइनेंशियल हो गई 3. Here this side you should definitely mention department related standing committees of the parliament. If you remember business advisory committee, well and good. If you don't remember, then also very good, no problem. But department related standing committees of the parliament which were constituted on the recommendation of rules committee of Lok Sabha should essentially be included, because what all I have talked earlier, they help in that. Any legislation that is introduced, these committees help the house in going in details of that, as every department which has actually brought the legislation, a concerned committee with that will enter into fray. ठीक है, easy है, it's an easy question. Any doubts in it? So what will come? Write about parliamentary committee concept, then how it is helpful, and then start entering into and minimum 4 committees. ज़्यादा नाम लिखना चाहो, you can write. You can definitely write. Okay? Committee on subordinate legislation, committee on assurances, privileges committee, जो चाहे लिखो, business advisory committee, no problem. But ये 4 जरूरी थी, क्योंकि इस चीज को जो उन्होंने कहा है, if you want to highlight, without them you cannot say. Development and welfare schemes for the vulnerable by its nature are discriminatory in approach. Do you agree? Are they discriminatory? They are to overcome the discrimination. So you will say that prima facie, whenever any group is selected for any sort of assistance, it may appear as to be a discriminatory approach. But if we analyze it in detail in the light of Article 14, the thesis of equal protection of law, then we can also understand how reasonable classification has gone to support the idea of positive discrimination, which is not having the purpose of discrimination, rather to pull out the people of the whirlpool of underdevelopment and backwardness, so that they can be brought in the mainstream and equality in real sense can be ensured. So easy answer I have spoken. What was in it? So easy. And now what will be our content? Give reasons for your answer. So you will go ahead with, बहुत कुछ लिख सकते हो. Equals shall be treated equally, unequals unequally. That also comes with it. Thesis of equal protection of law, analyze it. Idea of reasonable classification, analyze it. And ultimately you will say that it cannot be considered discriminatory, as is it to, as these schemes are to eliminate discrimination which otherwise could have been there. Right, sir? Let's see, any other question is left? Last one is still left. Okay, 18. Skill development programs have succeeded in increasing human resources supply to various sectors. In the context of the statement, analyze the linkages between education, skill and employment. दोबारा आ गया question, but this time from HRD to skill, and they are actually asking you, अब basics में गया, because it is a 15 marker. What they are asking you? Do you know these two words? Because combined will give them employability. Exactly. So where the question will start? If you answer it, last question, don't worry. Before it, for polity, then again sir will come and will talk of 4 questions of IR. Okay. So skill development programs have succeeded in increasing human resources supply to various sectors. वहाँ negative connotation में था, यहाँ positive में आ गया. See the beauty. There it was in negative connotation. कह रहा था HRD ने तो कुछ किया ही नहीं, बर्बाद है. देश is, country is nowhere. And here it has come in positive. Yeah, बड़ा काम किया है. We actually have given skills and we have been supplying to various sectors. And they have been doing wonders. यहाँ थोड़ा सा सांस खींच के. Anyway, then in the context of the statement, analyze the linkages between education, skill and employment. So you will talk of the word education in any society. In any society, for economic role of individuals and for their sustainability, 2 things become highly significant. 1, the type of education they acquire, and second, the skills they acquire. Education happens to be the broad-based understanding of the principles and theories which go to make any trade or branch of studies, while on the other skill happens to be vocation specific, job specific. Thus, a mix of both will automatically provide for what? Will provide for employment. So then you can talk of the very same report which we have seen earlier, how we have improved employability. And here do not forget to mention of your Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Do not forget to mention of Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Do not forget to mention Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Kendra. Schemes you can talk about. You can talk of Sankalp also. You can talk of capacity building schemes. Udan you can talk. Good. Okay. And then you can also talk the pre-departure orientation training program. Pre-departure orientation training program. ठीक है भाई, जब आप कॉलेज से कहीं बाहर जा रहे हैं तो आपका एक ओरिएंटेशन भी कर दें उस इंडस्ट्री के लिए. That is what the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship has been working for. So friends, this was something which was related to me, okay, and we have seen the paper was on the lines. Ideally anyone who is preparing for it, one question I myself will say that you could have scored only 2 to 3 because it was very specific. In it, writing about what? Writing about what? Competition Commission was easy, that it prevents cartelization and monopoly. But writing about cases required specific information. ठीक है, बस वही क्वेश्चन ऐसा था. बाकी तो in 16 questions I have not come across any question which was difficult, and 5-6 questions even from what you have covered you could have easily written. So fine friends, I will take your leave, somebody else will join. Thank you very much. Please wait for the sir who will be taking up for your international relations questions. Bye bye. Have good time. Don't be afraid of UPSC. It is easy. But only thing you need to have confidence. Bye bye.
Good evening, everyone. So, we are continuing with the discussion of our GS2 paper of mains 2023. Polity, governance and social justice have already been discussed. Now, we are trying to cover the international relations questions. Okay. So, we have our first question is question number 9 of the mains paper. The question is of 10 marker. It was a 10 marks question. Okay. And the question language reads, virus of conflict is affecting the functioning of the SCO. In light of the above statement, point out the role of India in mitigating the problems. Can you understand what the question is asking? Question पूछना क्या चाह रहा है? Yeah, there is a, what do you mean by virus of conflict? What is virus of conflict? Which are spreading. Basically, the virus of conflict is the conflicts that have been happening in the SCO region or the Asian region, SCO region. Can you tell me, any of you tell me why the SCO question appeared this time in mains 2023? Any particular reason of SCO question coming? थोड़ा बहुत ठीक है, but all of us know that India was the G20's president this year, but India was also the president of SCO this year. So this is basically the reason that they have asked the SCO question. किसी को पता था India is the president for SCO this year? So this was the reason. देखो UPSC has been asking those questions that are in the news. Like 2021 में SCO was in news, तो उन्होंने SCO पे क्वेश्चन पूछा कि SCO ज्वाइन करने से इंडिया का बेनिफिट क्या है. दैट वाज द क्वेश्चन आस्क्ड इन 2021 मेंस. अभी कितना 2023 मेंस है, तो ऑलमोस्ट सेम क्वेश्चन हैज बीन आस्क्ड. ठीक है, तो दे हैव बीन आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस रिपीटेडली और वो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं जो न्यूज में हमारा है. ठीक है, so the question is virus of conflict is affecting the function of the SCO. तो बेसिकली मैं थोड़ा SCO के बारे में हम लोग बात करते हैं. We have SCO, कितना मेंबर्स है SCO का? Can you tell how many members are there in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? 8 members are there. Okay, so we have India, China, Pakistan and Iran. Then we have 4 Central Asian countries minus Turkmenistan. How many countries are there in Central Asia? 5. So 5 minus Turkmenistan would be the members of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So first we need to look at the part which is talking about the conflicts in the Central Asian region or the SCO region. Can you tell me what are the conflicts that are being developed in this region? क्या क्या conflicts हम face कर रहे हैं SCO region में? Can anyone tell? Terrorism है, obviously. मैं start करता हूँ थोड़े बड़े perspective से. First we have Indo-China conflict. First we have Indo-China conflict. First we have Indo-China conflict. What are the conflicts between India and China? First is border issue, the hegemonic nature of the China, the territorial ambitions being displayed by China, the five-finger policy, the attacks on the land of Arunachal Pradesh and our Ladakh region. What is this? Territorial ambitions being displayed by China. Okay. Then we have the relations, tension between India and Pakistan. Can you tell me what are the basic reasons of tension between India and Pakistan? Kashmir issue is there. Kashmir issue is there. Then we have terrorism emanating from the Pakistani soil. drugs trafficking, because Pakistan is a part of the Golden Crescent. Have you heard Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle? So Golden Crescent is basically the region comprising Pakistan, Afghanistan and Iran, which has been notorious for the drug production and drug transportation. Okay, so these are basically the problems which have been emanating from the Indo-Pakistan. Then we have some of the issues. Then we have some of the issues of the Central Asian countries. Like India and Pakistan or India and China are not the only countries that have been affected by the border problems. There are some sort of border problems in Central Asian countries too. Like Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan are constantly at war due to this kind of border troubles. So these are basically the issues that have been faced by the Central Asian countries, or I should say the SCO countries. Okay. So first statement have been dealt with. We were starting with virus of conflict is affecting the functioning of the SCO. We have discussed क्या है वो virus, functioning conflicts क्या है. अब second statement is, in the light of the above statement, point out the role of India in mitigating the problems. ठीक है? We have discussed the conflicts. Now we need to map out the steps that the India can take to avoid these kind of problems. Is it clear? बढ़े आगे, ठीक है. So the steps the India can take to counter the virus of किसका वायरस है? कॉन्फ्लिक्ट का. ठीक है. So we need to talk about the steps. ये लिख लेना साथ साथ. ठीक है. Steps the India can take. Look, first we need to talk about the 2018 Qingdao Summit. Qingdao Summit of SCO that happened in 2018. In this summit, India chalked out a policy of secure. India said we have a vision of secure for the Central Asian region. The points that were given by India were secure, and here all the words have a definite meaning. S stands for security of all. Security of all. Then we have E. E stands for economic development. Economic development. Then we have C standing for the connectivity. Then we have U, unity of the region. The region must maintain the unity. R stands for regional development and respect for the sovereignty and integrity. Just write down R stands for the regional development and respect for sovereignty and integrity. R. E I will dictate. E stands for environmental concerns. E stands for environmental concerns. Good evening online students. Sorry I could not see your messages. Thank you. ठीक है? Have you wrote down? Environmental concerns. Okay. So this was basically the strategy that was put forward by India in the 2018 Qingdao Summit. ठीक है? So we need to frame our answer in this direction. ठीक है? ये steps India ने बोला 2018 summit में. Now we will see how these effects would be helpful or beneficial to avoid this virus of conflict. ठीक है? पहला step is, I should say, R, that is, ये हटा दूं मैं, R is respect for sovereignty and integrity. What do you mean by sovereignty? Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of this word? We have been, in simple words, we should not encroach upon other rights and land. ठीक है, ये simple word में we can say. So what India can do in this direction? See, India has been a champion. India has been a champion in the border dispute settlement. We settled our boundary with Bangladesh, land boundary agreement. Have you heard? we transferred the conclaves, or we should say we exchanged the conclaves with Bangladesh. कोई blood drop कुछ नहीं, there was no war, there was no battle, and we peacefully settled the border with Bangladesh. So this thing we can emanate, we can give some kind of lessons to other countries. See how we managed our border, then you should learn from us ki how to manage your border, how to solve your problems peacefully. This is the first step India can take in this direction. Similarly, we have also maintained maritime border with Sri Lanka. Earlier there were fishing disputes, fishermen were being caught in the Sri Lankan maritime border. We can also settle that dispute. So it is nothing but an example of how these things can be emanated to other countries. Okay. Next is the problem, I should say, connectivity issue. Connectivity issues. See, Berubari con. Yes, Adarsh, it is the right answer. Berubari case. Okay. It is not understandable. What are you writing, Adarsh? Anyways, so next point is connectivity. Can you tell me why conflicts happen? What is the basic reason of a conflict? The ideas of the people are not being exchanged. Let me give you a basic example. We Indians and Pakistanis are always at war. There have been some kind of mutual misunderstanding. But if you go to Middle East countries like Dubai and Saudi Arab, they have been living together. They have been living in a single flat, and one person is making biryani for the other person. So this is the kind of harmony they share with among themselves in other countries. So why this is happening? They are not showing the bond of friendship here, but in other countries they have been doing this because they are in contact with each other. We have not been in contact with each other, but we are fighting as if they are our perpetual enemies, isn't it? So what we need to do, we need to have a connectivity, or I should say we should have a people to people contact. We should have people to people contact. And how it can happen? How can we develop more people to people contact? By increasing the connectivity. By increasing the connectivity. And can you tell me what India has done to bring the connectivity in the Central Asian region? We have INSTC. What is INSTC? International North-South Transit Corridor. India has developed. So first is INSTC. Chabahar port is there, Iran. Chabahar. That is the recent development. We will also talk about this. So Ashgabat agreement is there. Development of Chabahar port is there. So what it is doing, it is trying to bring the others. We will talk about that point later. Just go with the flow. Okay. So Iran's Chabahar port is there. Then we have Ashgabat agreement. Then we have INSTC. So what it will do nothing but connect the people of different countries. Clear? Uske baad we can have cultural development. We can have cultural bonds. We can have cultural bonds. What do you mean by cultural bonds? 1 minute. Okay. Culture plays a very dominant role. Okay. Soft power working, we need the power of culture. See, they say don't be in a doubt, say freely. If you here you cannot dictate your ideas, what would you do when you would be in a front of very huge crowd? Just say clearly and freely, like no one is listening to you. Say now. Pilgrimage, ठीक है. कोई पॉइंट आ रहा है दिमाग में? टूरिज्म, ठीक है. So see, in this area we have a long history, long cultural connect. China and Indian civilizations are more than 3000 years old. So they share a very like historical connection with each other. There were travelers who went sang. So basically they traveled India and wrote about multifacets culture and like facets of the Indian society. Okay. देन इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान का कल्चर तो ऑलमोस्ट सेम है, समोसा यहाँ भी मिलता है वहाँ भी मिलता है, छोले भटूरे यहाँ के फेमस है वहाँ के ही फेमस है, ऑल्दो एवरी एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इंडिया पाकिस्तान कल्चर इज सेम। ईरान के साथ वी आर डेवलपिंग रिलेशंस, सेंट्रल एशिया के साथ वी आर डेवलपिंग रिलेशंस, बॉलीवुड फिल्म्स चाइना में काफ़ी फेमस है, दंगल वाज अ हिट इन चाइना, योगा इंडिया का कल्चरल कैपिटल है which has been emanating to every country. So these do nothing but bring the people closer to each other. और यहाँ पे when they will come closer, thank you, when they will come closer, so obviously there would be trust अच्छा बनेगा, और trust अच्छा बनने से क्या होगा, conflict का possibility कम होगा। समझ आया इतना पॉइंट? ठीक है। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, यूनिटी ऑफ द रीजन हमने डिस्कस कर लिया इसके फॉर्म में। उसके बाद भी हमको चाहिए कि स्टेबिलिटी, स्टेबिलिटी रीजन में होगा तो अच्छा डेवलपमेंट होगा रीजन का। लाइक से फॉर एग्जांपल इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान डू नॉट ट्रेड डायरेक्टली विद ईच अदर, पता होगा हाउ दे ट्रेड। इंडिया डू एक्सपोर्ट्स टू दुबई एंड फ्रॉम दुबई पाकिस्तान इंपोर्ट्स द गुड्स। अगर यही ट्रेड डायरेक्ट हो तो कितना सेविंग होगा। देयर हैव बीन रिपोर्ट्स बाय द वर्ल्ड बैंक कि if India and Pakistan trade directly, then there would be huge savings in the cost for both the countries. ठीक है, तो डेवलपमेंट होगा, तो इस टाइप का डेवलपमेंट करने के लिए हमको क्या चाहिए, we need security of all the countries should be on the same page regarding the security. Can you tell me some of the issues which have been dealt by all the countries together? कौन कौन से इश्यूज है जिससे हर कंट्री को प्रॉब्लम है एससीओ के? अभी तक तो हमने डिस्कस किया इंडिविजुअल प्रॉब्लम, इंडिया पाकिस्तान बॉर्डर, इंडिया चाइना बॉर्डर, उज्बेकिस्तान किर्गिस्तान बॉर्डर। कैन यू टेल मी द कॉमन प्रॉब्लम्स ऑल दिस कंट्रीज फेसिंग? जस्ट राइट डाउन दिस, देन वी विल डिस्कस। ये लिख लिया सबने? ठीक है। कैन यू टेल मी द कॉमन प्रॉब्लम्स? हाँ, एट प्रेजेंट ना, अरे बहुत सारी हैं, बोलो बोलो। टेररिज्म है, क्लाइमेट चेंज है, ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग है, डिजास्टर है, और बताइए। एनक्रोचमेंट किसका? ठीक है, वो चाइना ही आ जाता है, बट हम कॉमन प्रॉब्लम्स की बात कर रहे हैं। ठीक है, ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग और क्लाइमेट चेंज, और बताइए। डिजास्टर्स, मैनमेड डिजास्टर, नेचुरल डिजास्टर्स, टेररिज्म, रेडिकलाइजेशन, दीज आर द कॉमन प्रॉब्लम्स बीइंग फेस्ड बाय ऑल द कंट्रीज टुगेदर। कम्युनलिज्म, ठीक है, दैट इज अ गुड पॉइंट। तो on these fronts all the countries can work together and India can be a what India can do, it can become a leader on these fronts. ठीक है, because India has a time tested leadership in climate change. What we have done, we have been a bigger contribution in Paris agreement. हमारा climate net zero का we have target है ना, we have been doing too many things for renewable energy, 2030 targets are there. ठीक है, तो India can be a leader on these fronts. समझ आया इतना? तो वायरस ऑफ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट वी आर क्लियर, वी हैव सीन द स्टेप्स द इंडिया कैन टेक इन मिटिगेटिंग दीज प्रॉब्लम्स। कंक्लूड कैसे करोगे इसको? अगर आंसर, ये तो हमने डिस्कस किया, कैसे लिखोगे इसमें आंसर? 10 मार्क्स का है, तो ऑब्वियसली यू नीड टू राइट 1.5 पेजेस और 150 वर्ड्स लिमिट होती है। कैसे लिखोगे? हाउ विल यू स्टार्ट? एससीओ के बारे में थोड़ा सा लिखोगे, लाइक इंट्रोडक्शन। what क्वेश्चन होता क्या है बेसिकली? यू राइट इंट्रो, देन यू राइट बॉडी, देन यू राइट कंक्लूजन। बेसिकली ये तो सिंपल हमने डिलिनिएट कर दिया। अब वो डिपेंड करेगा 15 मार्कर क्वेश्चन है या 10 मार्कर क्वेश्चन है। 10 मार्कर में आप प्रोज एंड कॉन्स, वो तो क्वेश्चन के डिमांड के ऊपर है। ठीक है, बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर क्या है? इंट्रो, बॉडी, कंक्लूजन। इसमें हमारे पास इंट्रो में एससीओ हो जाएगा कि एससीओ वाज द बॉडी कंप्राइजिंग 8 कंट्रीज, लिख सकते हैं। पहला बॉडी का पहला पार्ट क्या होगा? द वायरस ऑफ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, क्या क्या इश्यूज हैं। सेकंड पार्ट में द स्टेप्स इंडिया कैन टेक इन द बॉडी, और कंक्लूजन क्या होगा? कंक्लूजन में क्या लिख सकते हैं? 1 or 2 लाइन ओनली, डोंट राइट अ बिगर कंक्लूजन। ठीक है, क्या लिख सकते हैं हम कि इंडिया हैज बीन डूइंग द नेसेसरी रोल दैट सॉफ्ट पावर कल्चर एक्सचेंज, इस टाइप का इंडिया स्टेप ले रहा है। समझ आया? क्लियर है ये क्वेश्चन? चले नेक्स्ट पे। ओके, next we have Indian diaspora. Indian diaspora has scaled new heights in the West. Describe its economic and political benefits for India. क्या क्वेश्चन है? Will tell you. Indian diaspora has scaled new heights in the West. Describe its economic and political benefits for India. Can you tell me the keywords in this question? बहुत interesting question है, and this question has been one of the favorite topics of UPSC. One minute. So in 2020 they directly asked a question on diaspora, but in this question they have been talking the diaspora of the West only. West means Europe and USA, ठीक है. But in 2020 they talked about the overall diaspora everywhere, Middle East, Southeast Asia, West, everywhere. This time they targeted only one region, that is West, ठीक है. Now you were asking the diaspora. Basically diaspora are the people of one country that has been settled in another country. Okay, like I stay in America for a period of like more than 180 days or more than a year, then I am a part of the Indian diaspora. Where? In America. समझ आया? That is the diaspora. You were asking something, बेटा? You were asking something? No, you? ठीक है, चलें आगे. Okay. So the question में keywords देखने हैं. Indian diaspora के बारे में बात कर रहा है. It has reached new heights. Heights का मतलब achievements. What achievements the Indian diaspora has done in the Western countries? ठीक है. और keywords क्या है? डिस्क्राइब इट्स इकोनॉमिक एंड पॉलिटिकल बेनिफिट्स. इनके बेनिफिट्स बताने हैं, इकोनॉमिक और पॉलिटिकल डिफरेंटली. यू कैन नॉट राइट देम इन अ सिंगल पैराग्राफ. आपको क्या दिखाना है? दीज आर द इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स, दीज आर द पॉलिटिकल बेनिफिट्स. तो फर्स्ट वी नीड टू हैव सम काइंड ऑफ इंट्रोडक्शन इन दिस लीडरशिप इन कॉर्पोरेट्स एंड पॉलिटी ऑफ नेशन. यस आदर्श, आई एम फीलिंग हैप्पी दैट लाइक you have been very attentive in the class. That is a good thing. Keep it up. Okay, so first we need to see how will we start this question. सबसे पहले डेटा चाहिए अपने को. Can anyone tell me what is the approximate number of Indian diaspora in the world? Highest in the world, and in 2020 it was 18 million. 18 million Indian persons were outside of India and being settled there. So Indian diaspora has been highest in the world, and not only in numbers, Indian diaspora is one of the influential in the world. If you will compare the influence of like India or China, India or Pakistan, then you would find that Indian diaspora is very much respected in other countries. All right. So this is basically the introduction part. Now we need to discuss what heights they have achieved. अभी क्वेश्चन में बेनिफिट पूछ रहा है इकोनॉमिक और पॉलिटिकल, तो हमको हाइट्स भी देखना पड़ेगा कि कैसे अलग अलग है. तो फर्स्ट वी नीड टू डिस्कस व्हाट आर द पॉलिटिकल हाइट्स और अचीवमेंट्स. पॉलिटिकल हाइट्स और अचीवमेंट्स ये तो बता सकते हो, थोड़ा बहुत सोच के बताओ. अरे यूएस का वाइस प्रेसिडेंट कौन है? Kamala Harris. Who is she? Indian origin person. We have vice president. 1 minute. Vice president of USA. Who is of Indian origin? Then एक और एग्जाम्पल, अक्षरधाम में कौन गया था अभी? ऋषि सुनक. इंडियन ओरिजिन पीएम ऑफ यूके. हाँ बोलो. वर्ल्ड बैंक प्रेसिडेंट अजय बांगा. Leader of opposition is there, Canadian or Indian origin. The 2024 candidate for presidentship from the Republican side is Vivek Ramaswamy. So he has been fighting for the presidential election of USA of 2024 presidential elections. Then we have Preeti Patel, an influential MP of UK. समझ आया? There have been too many people of Indian origin who have been in very much influential political positions. Singapore's PM is in the news recently. ठीक है? So these are, but Singapore we will not write because the question has been asking about the West. ठीक है? ये keywords पे ध्यान जरूर देना है. ठीक है? कि कहाँ की वो बात कर रहा है. Clear है इतना? Even I would not write World Bank because World Bank is a global body. It है ना? That's why I avoided the use of अजय बांगा. Clear है? इतना समझ आया? नाउ इफ वी टॉक अबाउट द इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स और इकोनॉमिक हाइट्स, कैन यू टेल मी सम ऑफ द पॉइंट्स इकोनॉमिकली व्हाट दे हैव बीन डूइंग? FDI. You want to talk about the FDI. The greater number of Indian people are in the higher positions in the economic setup. The more they will vouch for India to invest in India. Obviously, FDI would come, and with FDI, more growth will be there. So, first component is FDI. Then we have, tell me, more number of leaders of the global MNCs are Indians. Satya Nadella heading the Microsoft. Sundar Pichai, Google, Indra Nooyi, PepsiCo. So what are these? These are the Indians lead in a leadership position in the global MNCs. और बताइए, remittances. When the person will work outside, they will surely send the money to their families, to their way back home. So India has been the highest remittance recipient nation in the world. Close to $100 billion annually according to World Bank. समझ आया? This is the importance, economic benefit for the diaspora. It is close to $100 billion. और कोई बेनिफिट आ रहा है दिमाग में कुछ और? एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज विल बी देयर, ठीक है, एमएनसीज में इंडियंस विल वर्क, देन मोर नंबर ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज विल बी देयर. टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर, और आई कैन से ब्रेन बैंक्स. यू नो ब्रेन बैंक्स, इसका मतलब क्या है? सपोज इट्स अ टेक्निकल वर्ड बट नॉट दैट टेक्निकल एट ऑल. वीडियो रुक गया है क्या? एंड एनीवेज, ब्रेन बैंक्स. सपोज अ पर्सन विल गो टू यूएस, इधर देखो, उसको छोड़ो. अ पर्सन विल गो टू यूएस, starts working in a big MNC, Apple. So he will obviously learn new things, how to work in a corporate setup, how to work in a big technological setup. When he will return to India, what he will do? He will teach those things in the Indian setup which he has learned in USA. So this is nothing but technological और knowledge transfer. Knowledge transfer होगा तो क्या होगा? इंडियन डेवलपमेंट भी होगा. लाइक बेंगलोर में हमारा सिलिकॉन वैली बना, बेंगलोर में IT सेटअप्स हैं. तो पीपल फ्रॉम द सिलिकॉन वैली ऑफ USA, दे गेव अस द हेल्प इन सेटिंग अप ऑफ बेंगलोर एज अ टेक्नोलॉजिकल हब. समझ आया? और बताइए, कुछ और आ रहा है दिमाग में? क्या क्या बेनिफिट हो सकता है या क्या हाइट अचीव किया? इकोनॉमिक में, अभी इकोनॉमिक चल रहा है. हाँ हाँ हाँ, ठीक है, ये भी कर सकते हैं कि जैसे पहले ये रेट्स वगैरह बहुत हाई थे, जैसे हम लोग करंट अकाउंट कन्वर्टेबिलिटी की है, तो ये सब वेस्टर्न इन्फ्लुएंस है. ठीक है, वी कैन टॉक ऑफ दिस. 1 मिनट, मैं ये वीडियो ठीक करा देता हूँ. ओके, इकोनॉमिक्स में क्लियर है ये सब? ओके, नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. वी हैव, अरे सर ये YouTube लाइव शायद बंद हो गया, एक बार देख भेजना किसी को, यहाँ कोई है नहीं, तो क्लास में कोई नहीं बैठा है अटेंडेंट. हाँ जी, अब देखो, हमने बात की हाइट्स की, अब हमें बात करनी है इकोनॉमिक और पॉलिटिकल बेनिफिट्स की. सी, हाइट्स और बेनिफिट्स आर ऑलमोस्ट द सेम थिंग, बट क्वेश्चन है मेंस का, तो अपने को डिफरेंटली लिखना पड़ेगा. अब बात करते हैं हम इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स की. इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स जो होगा वो ऑलमोस्ट सेम रहेंगे, किससे? इकोनॉमिक हाइट से. बट अपने को तो लिखना है, तो कुछ ना कुछ तो वर्ड लिखना पड़ेगा. तो क्या क्या इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स है? ऑलमोस्ट सेम रहेगा. FDI, टेक्नोलॉजिकल नो हाउ, यू कैन चेंज द वर्ड्स. वहाँ पे आप लिख दो नॉलेज ट्रांसफर, यहाँ लिख दो टेक्नोलॉजिकल नो हाउ. ठीक है, दिस टाइप ऑफ वर्ड्स कैन बी यूज्ड. रेमिटेंसीज क्लोज टू $100 बिलियन. ठीक है, प्रोजेक्टेड लिख सकते हैं कमिंग ईयर्स में कितना हो सकता है ये. उसके बाद एक पॉइंट और है, वी कैन ऐड फिलेंथ्रोपिक कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन। फिलेंथ्रोपिक का मतलब समझ रहे हो, एड प्रोवाइड करना। डिजास्टर आया इंडिया में, सपोज करो, दे कैन बी अ ह्यूज कॉन्ट्रीब्यूटर। कोविड के टाइम में दे कंट्रीब्यूटेड अ लॉट फॉर द इंडियन प्रॉब्लम्स, तो दे कैन गिव रिलीफ, एड ड्यूरिंग अ डिजास्टर, ड्यूरिंग सम काइंड ऑफ प्रॉब्लम, ड्यूरिंग अ वॉर। समझ आया? तो दे कैन बी द बिगेस्ट कॉन्ट्रीब्यूटर्स। ठीक है, तो इकोनॉमिक ये हमारे पास बेनिफिट्स है। नाउ वी विल टॉक अबाउट द पॉलिटिकल बेनिफिट्स, जो ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। ठीक है, इसको हटा दें, ज्यादा नहीं लिखेंगे, कम कम पॉइंट्स लिखेंगे। देखो मेंस में होता क्या है ना, कई लोग पैराग्राफ्स में आंसर लिख देते हैं बहुत ज्यादा। सबसे पहले तो एग्जामिनर का दिमाग वहीं खराब होगा कि आपने वर्ड लिमिट क्रॉस कर दी। 150 वर्ड का मतलब 150 वर्ड, ज्यादा नहीं जाना है। आपको अपना दिखाना नहीं है कि मैंने थीसिस करी है इस टॉपिक पे, और उसमें करोगे तो आपके बाकी क्वेश्चन श्योरली छूट जाएंगे। ठीक है, क्वेश्चन पेपर पूरा करना है, 20 के 20 क्वेश्चन पूरे करने हैं। यार वो रफ आइडिया होता है, वो एग्जैक्ट एग्जामिनर विल नॉट काउंट लाइक 1 2 3। वो इतना कॉपी वो चेक कर चुके हैं, वो पेज के फ्लो से दे गेट टू नो कि हाउ मेनी वर्ड्स आर देयर। ठीक है ना, वो पता लग जाता है उनको, एक्सपीरियंस आ जाता है ना, इतनी कॉपीज चेक करते हैं। नहीं, पेजेस उतने ही होते हैं बेटा, मेंस का जो क्यू कैब आता है ना, उसमें उतने ही पेजेस होते हैं वर्ड के हिसाब से। ठीक है, 2 पेज होते हैं 10 मार्कर के लिए, और 3 पेजेस के अराउंड होता है 15 मार्कर के लिए। ठीक है, ओके, सो नाउ आई नीड टू लर्न अबाउट द पॉलिटिकल बेनिफिट्स। बताइए क्या क्या हो सकता है। इन्फ्लुएंस, दैट इज लॉबिंग, दिस वर्ड इज नोन एज लॉबिंग। लॉबिंग फॉर इंडिया, लॉबी करना मतलब इंडियन कोस के लिए। बहुत सारे मेंबर्स एक साथ आ गए, नहीं तो हमें तो इंडिया के लिए कुछ करना है। जब प्रेशर ग्रुप की तरह वो वर्क करेंगे तो नो वन कैन डिनाई दैट इट शुड बी डन फॉर इंडियन कोस। ठीक है, तो लॉबिंग कैन बी देयर। इसका बहुत बड़ा एग्जांपल है 2008 सिविल न्यूक्लियर डील। सिविल न्यूक्लियर डील किसके साथ साइन हुआ था? ये इंडिया यूएसए, तभी हम लोग के पावर प्लांट्स बने ना। ठीक है, तो इंडिया यूएसए न्यूक्लियर डील, जिसमें फ्यूल सप्लाई किया यूएसए ने, एंड इट इज आल्सो नोन एज एग्रीमेंट 123, इसका नाम था ऑफिशियल, एग्रीमेंट 123। याद रखना इसको, स्टेट पीसीएस पूछ सकते हैं ऐसे क्वेश्चंस कि व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय एग्रीमेंट 123, किसके साथ साइन किया। ठीक है, और बताइए बेनिफिट्स। फास्टर डिसीजन मेकिंग, फास्टर डिसीजन मेकिंग, जब ज्यादा सपोर्ट होगा इंडियंस का तो डिसीजन मेकिंग इंडिया को रिलेटेड फास्टर होगी या नहीं होगी। ठीक है, और बताओ इमोशनल कनेक्ट इज देयर। एक गाना सुना है, फिर भी दिल है हिंदुस्तानी। क्या है ऋषि सोनक के मन में, क्या होगा कि इंडिया के लिए तो एक सॉफ्ट कॉर्नर होगा या नहीं होगा। तो व्हाट इट विल डू, इट विल मेक अ इमोशनल कनेक्ट, इमोशनल कनेक्ट। वो दैट इज इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट, है ना। हमें वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट पॉलिटिकल बेनिफिट्स यार। मीन्स में ना डिलीनिएट करना सीखो, डोंट राइट इकोनॉमिक फैक्टर इन सोशल और स्ट्रेटेजिक फैक्टर, दीज आर पॉलिटिकल फैक्टर्स। ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं होता। वो अभी यूएस सिटीजन है, ठीक है, बट उनका क्या है, बैकड्रॉप कहाँ है, इंडिया से, तो एक सॉफ्ट कॉर्नर की बात होती है। उनका इंटरेस्ट उनकी कंट्री की पहले होगी ना, बट बाकी कंट्रीज में इफ वी कंपेयर, उनके पास 10 सेट ऑफ कंट्रीज है, बट उनके माइंड में इंडिया विल कम एट फर्स्ट। दे आर नॉट कंपेयरिंग यूएसए एंड इंडिया, बट दे आर कंपेयरिंग इंडिया विद अदर कंट्रीज। समझ आया? ठीक है, इमोशनल कनेक्ट इज देयर। देन वी हैव इंफॉर्मेशन डिलीवरी। इंफॉर्मेशन डिलीवरी क्या मतलब हुआ इसका? इंटेलिजेंस कैन बी शेयर्ड, और ग्लोबल ऑर्डर में इंटेलिजेंस तो बहुत जरूरी है या नहीं है। टू फिनोमिना, टू न्यूज ऑफ द यस्टरडे, सुना किसी ने? सऊदी अरब एंड कैनेडियन यूएस के बारे में कुछ पढ़ा? सऊदी अरब बीइंग टॉकिंग अबाउट कश्मीर इश्यू दैट इट नीड्स टू बी रिजॉल्व्ड। अभी G20 समिट को 1 महीना पूरा भी नहीं हुआ है, एंड दीज काइंड ऑफ स्टेटमेंट्स आर बीइंग गिवन बाय सऊदी अरब। ठीक है, ऐसे कनाडा में यूएस, इट इज बीइंग सेड कि यूएस गेव देम द इंटेलिजेंस टू कनाडा। नो नो नो, they have been focusing about the Kashmir issue like it needs to be solved. No, Kashmir is an integral part of India. It need not to be made an international issue. Kashmir is our region and we can solve its problems on our own. We don't need anyone's induction in this, interference in this. Okay. So Kashmir is an integral part of India and we don't need any country to say anything about that. Okay, clear hai? Yeah, there was some Khalistan leader that got killed, so US shared some kind of intelligence that India was behind this. So USA is an ally of India, and it cannot be expected on the part of USA to say these kind of things. That what I was saying. ठीक है? Okay. So information delivery. जितना ज़्यादा कनेक्ट होगा उतना ज़्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन डिलीवरी होगी, इंटेलिजेंस इंफॉर्मेशन कैन बी शेयर्ड. ठीक है, दीज आर द पॉलिटिकल बेनिफिट. समझ आ जाए इतना. तो अब हमारा स्ट्रक्चरिंग क्या होगा इस क्वेश्चन का. सबसे पहले डायस्पोरा के बारे में लिखोगे. वी कैन स्टार्ट इंट्रोडक्शन में, वी कैन स्टार्ट विद द डेटा. इंडिया गोट द हाईएस्ट लार्जेस्ट. हो सकता है ना, हो सकता है अगर इंडियन मेंबर्स होंगे वहां पे तो हो सकता है. वी कैन राइट दैट पॉइंट इन पॉलिटिकल पार्ट 2. लिख सकते हैं, बहुत सारे पॉइंट लिख सकते हैं. ठीक है, अपने पॉइंट्स ही बनाओ कुछ, है ना. रिसर्च करो न्यूज़पेपर में, थॉट प्रोसेस को उस डायरेक्शन में लेके जाओ कि मैं इसको और कैसे अच्छा बना सकता हूँ, बट क्या वर्ड लिमिट को ध्यान में रखते हुए. ठीक है. उसके बाद इंट्रोडक्शन में हमने लिख दिया बेनिफिट्स, लिख दिए इकोनॉमिक और पॉलिटिकल, सॉरी हाइट्स अचीव्ड बाय द डायस्पोरा. फिर हमने बेनिफिट्स लिखे. कंक्लूड कैसे करेंगे, कंक्लूड कैसे करेंगे, ये लिखेंगे इकोनॉमिक और पॉलिटिकल बेनिफिट्स ही नहीं और भी बेनिफिट्स प्रोवाइड करती है डायस्पोरा. ये हमारे कल्चर को एक्सचेंज करती है. इट इज बीइंग सेड दैट एवरी इंडियन आउटसाइड इज एम्बेसडर ऑफ इंडिया फॉर द फॉरेन कंट्री. समझ आया इतना, क्लियर है. चले नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे. ठीक है. द एक्सपेंशन एंड स्ट्रेंथनिंग ऑफ NATO, the expansion and strengthening of NATO and a stronger US-Europe strategic partnership works well for India. What is your opinion about this statement? Give reasons and examples to support your answer. ठीक है. What are the keywords in this question? NATO is there. देखो सबसे पहले समझो, एक्सपेंशन हुआ है NATO का. दो चीज हुई है NATO के साथ. पहला तो एक्सपेंशन, दूसरा क्या हुआ है, NATO स्ट्रेंथन हुआ है. एक्सपेंशन का मतलब और स्ट्रेंथन का मतलब क्या है, डिफरेंट है. तो वी नीड टू डिस्कस बोथ द एस्पेक्ट्स. ठीक है. उसके बाद एंड अ स्ट्रॉन्गर US यूरोप स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप. 3 फिनोमिना हो चुके हैं, ये थर्ड है. ठीक है. पहला एक्सपेंशन हुआ, देन स्ट्रेंथन हुआ, स्ट्रेंथ में इंक्रीमेंट हुआ NATO का, देन वी हैव स्ट्रॉन्गर US यूरोप स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप. ठीक है. और फोर्थ एस्पेक्ट क्या है कि इन सबसे इंडिया को क्या फर्क पड़ेगा, है कि नहीं. तो फोर्थ स्टेटमेंट इज इंडिया पे क्या इंपैक्ट पड़ेगा. क्वेश्चन समझ आया. 4 फिनोमिना हुए. पहले एक्सपेंशन हुआ, फिर क्या हुआ, स्ट्रेंथ में इंक्रीमेंट हुआ, फिर स्ट्रॉन्गर US यूरोप पार्टनरशिप आया, और फोर्थ क्या है, हाउ डिड दे वर्क फॉर इंडिया. समझ आया. अब इनको डिस्कस करते हैं कि ये सब हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है. देखो पहले एक चीज समझो, पैसिफिक रीजन पे ना इंडिया पहले इतना ध्यान नहीं दे रहा था उस रीजन पे. पहले इधर जा रहे थे हम लोग सार्क पे, लुक ईस्ट पॉलिसी हो गया, बेसिकली इंडियन ओशियन रीजन. ठीक है ना. ब्रिक्स पे हम लोग का ध्यान था, बट आफ्टर पर्टिकुलरली 2010 वी हैव बीन फोकसिंग ऑन द पैसिफिक रीजन. वी मेड क्वाड, है ना. इंडिया हैज बीन गोइंग टू लाइक पैसिफिक आइलैंड कंट्रीज, कैरिबियंस वगैरह ये सब जा रहा है. ठीक है. क्वाड के एक्सरसाइज हो रहे हैं, मिलिट्री एक्सरसाइज. ठीक है. US के साथ है, जापान के साथ है. ठीक है ना. I2U2 ओकस. तो दीज आर नथिंग बट द फोकस ऑफ इंडिया दैट इट हैज बीन गिविंग टू पैसिफिक. और सेम UPSC के साथ, UPSC हैज बीन आस्किंग क्वेश्चन ऑन पैसिफिक रीजन. I2U2 they have asked, AUKUS they have asked, now NATO they have asked. now they have asked कि NATO का पैसिफिक में होने से क्या फर्क पड़ेगा. क्लियर है इतना. ठीक है. तो स्टार्ट करते हैं इस क्वेश्चन को. हम लोग स्टेप वाइज इसको डील करेंगे. सबसे पहले वी विल सी कि एक्सपेंशन कैसे हुआ, देन वी विल सी वो स्ट्रेंथन कैसे हुआ है. ठीक है ना. और फिर हम बात करेंगे स्ट्रॉन्गर यूएस और यूरोप के रिलेशनशिप के बारे में, ठीक है। फिर इनका इम्पैक्ट देखेंगे इंडिया पे, फिर चेक करेंगे कि हाँ ये सब तो पॉजिटिव है, कुछ निगेटिव इम्पैक्ट हुआ या नहीं हुआ इन सब से, ठीक है। ऐसा तो नहीं है कि कॉइन के तो दो साइड होंगे ना, कि सब कुछ पॉजिटिव तो होगा नहीं, कहीं ना कहीं तो प्रॉब्लम होगा, इंडिया चाइना का इश्यू भी आएगा फिर वहाँ पे, ठीक है। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं। फर्स्ट इज एक्सपेंशन। कैन यू टेल मी हाउ NATO इज बीइंग एक्सपेंडेड? नेटो की बात चल रही है बेटा, यूरोप नहीं। यूएस भी तो है, टर्की भी तो है, न्यू मेंबर्स ऐड हुए हैं, कौन कौन? स्वीडन, Sweden is the new member, Norway is the new member, so these two are the new members of, नहीं याद करना, नेटो के मेंबर्स लिखना एक बार, ठीक है। नेटो के जितने भी ग्लोबल इस टाइप के ग्रुपिंग्स है ना, नेटो हो गया, ब्रिक्स हो गया, G7, G20, इन सब के मेंबर्स को एक बार लिखना और इनके मैंडेट को जरूर लिखना। मैंडेट मतलब कि ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन किस पर्पस के लिए बनाई गई है, क्योंकि अभी हम अगला क्वेश्चन देखेंगे ना, IMO, प्योरली फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स वुड हैव लेफ्ट दैट क्वेश्चन, क्या? देखो ऐसा होता है कि मेंबरशिप नेटो ना एक तरीके से मिलिट्री पैक्ट है, हर कंट्री इज एप्रीहेंसिव टू ज्वाइन दिस काइंड ऑफ पैक्ट्स, बहुत सारे कमिटमेंट करने पड़ते हैं, तो हर कंट्री अपनी सॉवरेनिटी वगैरह को ध्यान में रख के ये सब करता है, ठीक है ना। दे कैन नॉट कि मन किया चलो नेटो ज्वाइन करते हैं, ऐसा नहीं होता, ठीक है। ग्लोबल अफेयर्स वर्क इन अ डिफरेंट मैनर, ठीक है। ओके, तो एक्सपेंशन, स्वीडन, नॉर्वे हैव ज्वाइंड इन द लास्ट समिट, इन द लास्ट समिट 4 countries were the guest countries to the NATO summit. वो कौन थी? जापान, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, न्यूजीलैंड एंड साउथ कोरिया. They were invited to the NATO summits, although they are not part of the NATO, but still they were in the NATO summits. So this is indicating that in future they can join the NATO. So this is nothing but the expansion of the NATO. Now we will see the strengthening of the NATO and stronger US Europe strategic partnership. इसको हम एक ही पॉइंट में देखते हैं, ठीक है, एक ही सिंगल टेबल में we will look for both these aspects. So stronger US Europe strategic partnership. कैसे स्ट्रॉन्ग हुई यूएस यूरोप स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप? पर्टिकुलरली आफ्टर रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर. द war has shown that there must be closer relations between Europe and USA, and USA was being seen as the net security provider. ठीक है, जितना भी आर्म्स का एक्सपोर्ट है, who is doing? USA. So it brought Europe and USA closer. What brought them closer? Russia and Ukraine. Russia versus Ukraine. ठीक है. Even there was a time when the French President Macron said NATO is brain dead, like NATO cannot do anything. But now NATO has been growing. The European countries are being pulled closer towards the US. ठीक है. Second point is, in the last summit, all the countries need to put 2% of their GDP in their defense budgets. It was the outcome of the last NATO summit. Every country will put the 2% of GDP in what? In defense expenditure. Clear? तो डिफेंस एक्सपेंडिचर में जाएगा 2%, तो क्या होगा? मोर मिलिटराइजेशन वुड बी देयर, एंड विद मोर मिलिटराइजेशन देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ द वॉर हैपनिंग. ठीक है ना, ज्यादा वेपन से क्या होगा? वॉर कम होगा, ज्यादा होगा, ऑब्वियसली देयर इज अ मोर पॉसिबिलिटी. क्लास के बाद पूछें? ये खत्म कर लें पहले, हम लोग काफी देर से चल रहा है ना सेशन, यू मस्ट बी टायर्ड. क्लास के बाद पूछना, ठीक है? ठीक है, लिख लिया ये पॉइंट। दूसरा क्या है, तीसरा क्या है, वाई दे आर गेटिंग स्ट्रोंगर, बिकॉज ऑफ द चाइना फैक्टर, बिकॉज ऑफ द चाइना फैक्टर। they view the emergence of China as a threat to their established global order. Obviously there would be problems जब दो countries will be there and a third country would be fighting for their position. USA को सबको लगता है is a global leader and China is trying to replace that country, so how USA will feel? लगेगा ना कि मेरी रैंक 1 है, मेरी रैंक कोई और छीन रहा है, so you will be jealous ना, होगा या नहीं होगा? So this factor is being displayed by China. समझ आया? So expansion of NATO we have seen, strengthening of US Europe we have seen. Now we will see the impact of these two factors on India. ठीक है, हटा दूं इसको? समझ आ रहा है ना, सब कुछ क्लियर हो रहा है? ठीक है, सबसे पहला है इम्पैक्ट ऑफ एक्सपेंशन, इम्पैक्ट ऑफ एक्सपेंशन ऑन इंडिया। पहला पॉइंट इज कैसे कैसे हेल्प करेगा इंडिया को? चाइना को डिटरेंस होगा, लाइक देयर आर टू मैनी अलाइज फॉर इंडिया, ठीक है ना, सो इट विल एक्ट एज अ डेटरेंस, डेटरेंस to China. And why we need deterrence to China, like we need to display more powerful India? Because there have been too many prospects for India in the Indo-Pacific. ठीक है, पहले हमारी पॉलिसी का नाम क्या था, लुक ईस्ट, अभी उसका नाम क्या है, एक्ट ईस्ट। लाइक हमने बहुत देख लिया, अब कुछ करने की बारी आई है। That's why the name of the look east was changed to act east. ठीक है, उसके बाद we have been developing sea lanes of communication, हमारे बेसिस हैं डिफरेंट कंट्रीज में। we have been taking investments in Caribbean countries, Latin American countries, so we need to safeguard these investment from the Chinese influence. Is it clear? तो expansion से ये फायदा होगा। Then their second benefit of the expansion of NATO is defense from the non-traditional threats, non-traditional threats. Can you tell me what are the non-traditional threats that are being faced by the Pacific region? Non-traditional threats, piracy is there, you know, piracy, pirates of the Caribbean, suna hai? They actually loot a ship or container, and in Madagascar, near Madagascar, this problem is very much aggravated. So we need some kind of security against these non-traditional threats. Piracy is there, और क्या क्या है? Piracy, oil spillage, oil spillage is there. It is like deterrence to environment, कितना नुकसान होगा, है ना, कोई oil spillage. सुएज कैनाल में लास्ट ईयर देयर वाज शिप ब्लॉकेज, सुना था? व्हाट वाज द नेम ऑफ दैट शिप? एवर गिवन। ब्लॉक हो गई थी ना सुएज कैनाल 21 दिनों में, तो उस टाइप के हादसे आगे ना हो, सो वी नीड एन एक्सपेंडेड नेटो। और क्या क्या नॉन ट्रेडिशनल थ्रेट्स हैं, सोचो। क्लाइमेट चेंज कैन हैपन इन पैसिफिक कंट्रीज, लोअर आइलैंड नेशंस, क्लाइमेट सी लेवल राइज करेगा तो क्या होगा, उनके डूबने की पॉसिबिलिटी है। और सोचिए क्या क्या है, टेररिज्म इन सोमालियन कंट्रीज, अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज, परकोलेट करेगा इंडिया में, ठीक है। और कोई थ्रेट आ रहा है दिमाग में? सिक्योरिंग सी लेन्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, सी लेन्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन मतलब क्या होता है? सी लेन्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन इज लाइक अ रोड इन द ओशियन, शिप्स ट्रेवल ऑन दैट प्री डिफाइंड रूट्स ओनली एंड वी नीड टू सिक्योर दो सी लेन्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, ठीक है, इतना क्लियर है। नाउ वी विल डिस्कस द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, दैट इज स्ट्रोंगर यूएस यूरोप पार्टनरशिप एंड इट्स इफेक्ट ऑन इंडिया। स्ट्रोंगर यूएस यूरोप पार्टनरशिप एंड इट्स इम्पैक्ट ऑन इंडिया। हाँ बताइए, कैसे स्ट्रॉन्गर यूएस यूरोप पार्टनरशिप, वो तो हुआ, हमने देखा अभी अभी, हाउ इट विल इम्पैक्ट इंडिया। इनडायरेक्टली, ठीक है, वी कैन राइट दीज पॉइंट्स, बट वी नीड टू राइट दीज पॉइंट्स व्हेन द मेन पॉइंट्स आर ओवर। समटाइम्स इट हैपन्स, रिपीट बोलना एक बार आप। नहीं, स्ट्रॉन्गर यूएस यूरोप पार्टनरशिप अभी हमने पढ़ा ना, स्ट्रॉन्ग हुआ था, एंड वी आर टेकिंग इट्स इम्पैक्ट ऑन इंडिया, इंडिया पे क्या फर्क पड़ेगा इससे, तो वी आर डिस्कसिंग दैट पॉइंट, ठीक है। हाँ कैसे, वो तो है, कैसे चाइना काउंटर करने के लिए हमने डिस्कस कर लिया एक्सपेंशन, तो इनके स्ट्रॉन्ग होने से भी चाइनीज फैक्टर विल बी देयर। हाँ अभी अभी अब देख रहे हैं उसको, अभी चाइनीज फैक्टर को पहले डील करते हैं बीआरआई के थ्रू। बीआरआई चाइनीज किसका है, चाइनीज है ना इन्वेस्टमेंट। बीआरआई बॉर्डर बेल्ट एंड रोड इनिशिएटिव है ना, इट इज इनिशिएटेड बाय चाइना, और बाकी जितनी भी कंट्री है एससीओ कंट्री वगैरह ले लो, सब बीआरआई का पार्ट है। तो इंडिया को ऐसा कुछ ना कुछ तो कनेक्टिविटी प्रोजेक्ट बनाना पड़ेगा, और उसमें किसका सपोर्ट चाहिए होगा, वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज का, नेटो का सपोर्ट तो चाहिए ना। और अभी हमने क्या लॉन्च किया है G20 में, इंडिया मिडिल ईस्ट इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर, इंडिया मिडिल ईस्ट यूरोप इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर, तो उसमें अपने को सपोर्ट चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए, और हमको क्या करना है, चाइना को रिबैलेंस करना है, कि अगर उतनी कंट्रीज बीआरआई में है, तब मोर नंबर ऑफ कंट्रीज शुड बी देयर इन इंडिया मिडिल ईस्ट यूरोप इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर। समझ आया। दूसरा फैक्टर क्या है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग। भाई अगर यूएस यूरोप स्ट्रॉन्ग होगा उनका रिलेशनशिप, तो दे आर लुकिंग फॉर सम न्यू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग डेस्टिनेशंस। बिफोर कोविड चाइना वाज द ओनली मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पावर हाउस ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, ठीक है, जितना भी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स, सेमीकंडक्टर, कार्स, कंपोनेंट्स, एवरीथिंग वाज मैन्युफैक्चर्ड इन चाइना, and it was being transported to other parts of the world. But after China COVID, the great reset was there. Every country knew that if you are depending on China, it would be very harmful in the near future. So they are looking for a third country, or I should say second country, China plus one. So we need a China plus one approach. Like one more country should be there that can compete with China in the manufacturing realm. So वो country कौन हो सकता है, इंडिया। Like let me give you an example. Have you heard Zara? Zara brand सुना ही होगा सबने। Zara is the world's largest retailer, and it produces its clothes in China and Vietnam. अभी वो चाइना से निकलेगा तो उसके बाद अपॉर्चुनिटीज कहाँ कहाँ पे है, बांग्लादेश, इंडिया। तो इंडिया कैन बी अ गुड सेकंड कंट्री आफ्टर चाइना, ठीक है, जहाँ पे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग शिफ्ट हो सकता है। iPhone 15 इज नाउ बीइंग मैन्युफैक्चर्ड इन इंडिया, बट अभी बेसिकली इट्स बीइंग असेंबल्ड, नॉट मैन्युफैक्चर्ड। अगर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हो, कंपोनेंट्स भी यहाँ बने, दैट वुड बी वेरी बेनिफिशियल। समझ आया। तो इंडिया कैन बी अ सेकंड कंट्री टू compete विद चाइना। और क्या हो सकता है, और क्या हो सकता है, स्ट्रेटेजिक डायमेंशन भी है इसका। इसका क्या है, स्ट्रेटेजिक डायमेंशन। स्ट्रेटेजिक डायमेंशन क्या है, इसका मतलब समझो ध्यान से। देखो मैनी ग्रुपिंग्स आर देयर जहां पे चाइना इज लीडिंग द फ्रंट, ठीक है। OIC में पाकिस्तान के थ्रू चाइना कैन हैव इट से क्लियर है। उसके बाद UNSC, चाइना इज द परमानेंट मेंबर, क्लियर है इतना। और भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं जहां पे चाइना का बहुत अच्छा से है। तो वी नीड टू हैव दोज काइंड ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जहां पे ये कंट्रीज इंडिया को सपोर्ट कर सकें। लाइक वी सी G20 प्रेसिडेंसी में हाउ इंडिया वाज सपोर्टेड बाय अदर कंट्रीज। तो अपने को क्या है, चाइना को ना बैलेंसिंग एक्ट करके चाइना के एटलीस्ट इक्वल तो रहना है, ठीक है। हम इन्वेस्टमेंट में चाइना को compete नहीं कर सकते, वी नो मोनेटरली बहुत ज़्यादा पावरफुल है, बट इन अदर एस्पेक्ट्स वी कैन श्योरली बीट चाइना। लीडरशिप अप्रोच, सॉफ्ट पावर वैल्यूज, तो दीज आर द थिंग्स थ्रू विच इंडिया कैन लीड द वे। क्लियर है इतना, है ना, वही डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। अब बात करते हैं निगेटिव कॉन्सेप्ट्स की। द ग्रास इज नेवर ग्रीनर ऑन द अदर साइड, ठीक है। अब बात करते हैं, ये सब तो एवरीथिंग इज पॉजिटिव, सब फायदा ही फायदा है, तो देयर आर सम निगेटिव्स यू नीड टू टॉक अबाउट टू। तो अब देखते हैं इससे हमें कंसर्न क्या क्या है। हाँ बताइए क्या क्या कंसर्न हो सकता है। फर्स्ट, द बिगेस्ट कंसर्न of the growing India USA Europe relationship is sidelining of the Russia. You are getting closer to US Europe and you are sidelining your all weather friend Russia. You know, when we were buying oil from Russia, there were sanctions from USA. USA tried to cast sanctions, but still we bought oil. So the Russia has been made far if we are doing these kind of things. Secondly, इंडिया चाइना रिलेशंस, इंडिया चाइना रिलेशंस इसी की वजह से खराब भी हो रहे हैं। द मोर वी गेट क्लोजर टू नेटो, द मोर वी गेट क्लोजर टू यूएस एंड यूरोप, द मोर स्ट्रेन्ड रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन इंडिया एंड चाइना विल बी। व्हेनेवर दिस काइंड्स ऑफ समिट्स हैपन, क्वाड, नेटो, लैंड एलएसी पे कुछ ना कुछ हो जाता है। अभी इंडिया असर्टिव हो गया ना पैसिफिक पे, but India is being assertive now, like Doklam. We never lose our stand. देखो ये डिबेट बहुत लंबा है बेटा, but we need to give our answer according to the asked question. If we go into this debate, it can like हम न्यूज चैनल बन जाएंगे फिर। ठीक है, we need to talk rationally. ठीक है, इंडिया चाइना रिलेशन स्ट्रेन होगा जैसे जैसे नेटो और यूएस यूरोप पास में आएंगे, और एलएसी पे फिर से प्रॉब्लम कुछ ना कुछ होगी। चाइना अलग बयान देगा कि अरुणाचल प्रदेश इज माई एरिया, तो ये सब बढ़ेगा। और सबसे बड़ा इश्यू क्या है इंडो पैसिफिक में नेटो के आने से, इफ नेटो कम्स इन द इंडो पैसिफिक रीजन, तो मिलिटराइजेशन होगा उस एरिया का। आप मिलिटराइजेशन भी देखो, आप पायरेसी को तो डिफीट करना चाहते हो, बट इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप मिलिट्री बेसिस बना दो हर जगह। गुआम आइलैंड्स पे बना दिया गया मिलिट्री बेस, सेशेल्स पे, तो इन सब पे क्या हो रहा है, मिलिटराइजेशन हो रहा है। एंड विद ग्रोइंग मिलिटराइजेशन देयर इज अ मोर पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ द, अभी हमने डिस्कस किया ना, वॉर। तो हमें क्या चाहिए, मिलिटराइजेशन नहीं चाहिए, हमें सेफ्टी चाहिए। ठीक है ना, इतना क्लियर है। तो दिस इज द क्वेश्चन वी हैव डिस्कस्ड, एवरीथिंग हैज बीन डिस्कस्ड हियर। अब ये बता सकते हो इसका कंक्लूड कैसे करेंगे हम लोग। इंडिया नीड्स टू हैव अ बैलेंसिंग एक्ट, इट शुड मेंटेन इक्वल रिलेशंस विद द नेटो एज वेल एज द रशिया। ब्रिक्स को इतना इंपॉर्टेंस दे जितना नेटो को दे रहा है, समझ आया। सार्क को रिवाइव करे, इस टाइप से हम लोग अपने आंसर को कंक्लूड कर सकते हैं। ठीक है, लास्ट क्वेश्चन बचता है, चलते हैं उसके ऊपर। सी इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट ऑफ द कॉस्मोस, लास्ट है। सी इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट ऑफ द कॉस्मोस। पढ़ो क्वेश्चन एक बार। डिस्कस इन द लाइट ऑफ द अबोव स्टेटमेंट द रोल ऑफ द IMO इन प्रोटेक्टिंग एनवायरमेंट एंड एनहेंसिंग मैरीटाइम सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी। प्योरली फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन है ये, कुछ नहीं लिख सकते अगर नहीं आता तो। लिखोगे तो फिर एकदम जेनरिक पॉइंट्स लिखोगे कि एनवायरनमेंट सेफ होगा, ये होगा, वो होगा, कोई मतलब सिर्फ लिखने के लिए लिखोगे। फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा। ये तुम्हारे लिए जिन्होंने मेंस लिखा है उनका भी यही प्रॉब्लम था कि सर इसमें क्या लिखें। अच्छा, दूसरी चीज क्या, IMO वाज नेवर इन द न्यूज। यूनेस्को दे हैव आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन इन 2018 और 19 बिकॉज USA लेफ्ट यूनेस्को, न्यूज में था। UNESCAP is an organization which India joined in some year. उस time UPSC asked the question on ESCAP, but IMO was never in the news this year or in the earlier year. So how we are going to write the answer for this? Yes, maritime safety and security have always been in the news. हाँ, so we need to look out. भाई नहीं, अभी हम IMO की बात कर रहे हैं, अभी कॉस्मोस वाला पॉइंट वी विल डिस्कस। ठीक है, IMO की बात चल रही है कि व्हाई IMO इज आस्क्ड। तो लुक, द मैरीटाइम सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी हैज ऑलवेज बीन इन द न्यूज। ये टॉपिक रहेगा हमेशा कि मैरीटाइम सेफ्टी चाहिए, शिप रैकेज से बचाना है, शिप ऑयल स्पिलेज हुआ, तो देयर इज ओनली वन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दैट इज वर्किंग फॉर दिस एंड दैट इज IMO। तो इस पर्सपेक्टिव से वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई IMO हैज बीन आस्क्ड। ठीक है, नाउ सी दिस स्टेटमेंट, C is an important part component of the cosmos. फिलोसॉफिकल कर दिया, बट ये बेसिक है कि C is a very important component. ठीक है. Even this is asked, the one who controls the sea trading routes. What is the statement? The one who controls the sea trading routes will be the superpower of the future. ठीक है ना. Why China is claiming its sovereignty on the South China Sea? 9 लाइन बना दिया कि अब तो ये मेरा है. Why? Because trade routes pass through that region. Economy, ठीक है ना. So this is the reason why this statement has been written. Trade routes are there. और बता सकते हो सी का इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है. नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज आर देयर, फिशिंग इज देयर, ठीक है, यूरेनियम थोरियम यू कैन गेट, और नेचुरल गैस इज देयर, पेट्रोलियम इज देयर, ट्रेड हो सकता है सी से, कल्चर है लोगों का, फिशिंग कल्चर्स हैव बीन डेवलप्ड, बहुत सारे पॉजिटिव्स हैं. तो आंसर में अपने को थोड़ा बहुत सी का इंपॉर्टेंस लिखना पड़ेगा. अब नाउ वी नीड टू राइट अबाउट आईएमओ. आईएमओ क्या है? आईएमओ इज अ स्पेशलाइज्ड, हाँ स्पेशलाइज्ड, मैंने लास्ट क्लास में तुम लोग को कुछ बोला था ना कि यू एजेंसीज और प्रिंसिपल ऑर्गन्स के बारे में पढ़ा नहीं, भूल गए किया था. फिर चलो ठीक है, इसमें हमको थोड़ा फैक्चुअल डेटा लिखना पड़ेगा इस क्वेश्चन में, बिकॉज ये मैंडेट है एंड दिस इंफॉर्मेशन हैज बीन टेकन फ्रॉम द आईएमओ's वेबसाइट. फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन है, वी कैन नॉट राइट पर्सनल पॉइंट्स. नहीं लिख सकते ना कि आईएमओ का ही मैंडेट है, हमने तो लिख दिया, पता लगा वो किसी और बॉडी का मैंडेट निकला, तो निगेटिव होगा या नहीं होगा. ठीक है, तो जस्ट राइट डाउन इन दिस क्वेश्चन, IMO, International Maritime Organization, is a specialized agency of the UNO. Is a specialized agency of the UNO. In next line, the responsibility of IMO is for the safety and security of shipping How many people are online? YouTube पे you cannot see the number of people. It is very less. Okay. Where were we? Security of shipping and for the prevention of marine and atmospheric pollution by ships. Now write how IMO is protecting the environment. First mandate is to protect the environment. लिखा है यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन में क्या पूछा है? How it is protecting the environment. In this heading, write first point. It is the organization that sets global standards for safety, security and environmental performance of international shipping. समझ आया इस पॉइंट का मतलब? Who has been setting the standards for the international shipping industry? This is IMO. ठीक है, second point in this heading, it standards means like let me take an example. emissions from the ships. This is the maximum amount of emission that the ship can emit. This standard will be set by IMO. The maximum weight of the waste. People live on ships, waste will be generated, kitchen waste, human waste, everything will be there. तो उसका standard कौन set करेगा? IMO. ठीक है. Second point in this statement, it is also working towards Agenda 2030. Agenda 2030 पता होगा ये तो, no need to discuss it. It is also working towards, next point, it is also working towards fulfilling SDGs through the shipping industry. Sustainable development. याद है ना सब? याद है? याद करो, ये तो मतलब आंसर में लिखोगे ना मेंस में, एसडीजी कहीं ना कहीं इंट्रोडक्शन में तो दोगे. कितने एसडीजीज हैं? 17. याद है? थोड़े वो करो याद, ये जरूरी है, मतलब ये तो पार्ट है, बेसिक पार्ट है. ठीक है. अगला पॉइंट लिखिए. इट इज आल्सो, हाँ हो गया. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, इट इज आल्सो वर्किंग फॉर aspects of international shipping, working for aspects of international shipping, right from design comma construction, comma operation, and final ship breaking. Everything has to be eco-friendly. Everything has to be eco-friendly. You know, a factual question. Currently, India's only ship wrecking yard has been built. Can you tell me where it has been built? Ship wrecking yard meaning where the ship will be destroyed. You cannot destroy a ship everywhere. Environmental pollution होगा ship wreckage से. Too many concerns. कहाँ पे बना है अभी इंडिया में? Alang, ALANG, गुजरात is the first ship wreckage port in India. ठीक है. अलंग, गुजरात. शाहिद कपूर का भी सीरीज आया था फर्जी, देखा था किसी ने? अलंग पोर्ट वाज मेंशन्ड इन दैट. याद आया कुछ? ठीक है. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, इट इज आल्सो वर्किंग ऑन द एरियाज ऑफ see, it is a 15 marks questions, that's why we are writing so much number of points. ठीक है. 10 नंबर में होता हम 3 या 4 पॉइंट्स लिख के इट वुड हैव बीन फिनिश्ड. कहाँ थे हम लोग? इट इज आल्सो वर्किंग ऑन द एरियाज ऑफ रिड्यूसिंग द परमिसिबल सल्फर कंटेंट इन द शिप फ्यूल्स. सल्फर कंटेंट आ गया ना स्टैंडर्ड सेटिंग. सल्फर कंटेंट मैक्सिमम कितना होगा? इट विल बी सेट बाय IMO. आप ये लोग नोट्स बना रहे हैं ना, पुट दिस नोट्स इन GS2 पार्ट. जैसे सिलेबस IR के सिलेबस में रीजनल एंड ग्लोबल ग्रुपिंग्स लिखा है स्पेसिफिकली. ठीक है. पुट दिस नोट इन दैट फोल्डर. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, इट इज आल्सो वर्किंग ऑन मैरीटाइम एजुकेशन. मैरीटाइम एजुकेशन कॉमा ट्रेनिंग कॉमा ट्रैफिक मैनेजमेंट, so that there is ग्रीन शिपिंग इंडस्ट्री। ठीक है, ग्रीन शिपिंग इंडस्ट्री क्यों होना चाहिए? एक डेटा याद रखना, 80% ऑफ द वर्ल्ड्स ट्रेड हैपन्स थ्रू शिप्स। ठीक है, कितना ट्रेड होता है? 80% बाय वॉल्यूम हैपन्स थ्रू शिप्स। नाउ राइट मैरीटाइम सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी। अभी तक हमने क्या डील किया? एनवायरमेंट में कैसे काम कर रहा है आईएमओ। नाउ वी नीड टू शो हाउ आईएमओ इज वर्किंग ऑन द फ्रंट ऑफ मैरीटाइम सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी। लिख लो, हेडिंग लिख लो, आईएमओ's रोल इन मैरीटाइम सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी। अपने वर्ड्स में भी लिख सकते हो हेडिंग। Should I start? It has come up with ISPS codes. It has come up with ISPS codes. लिख लिया? ISPS बता रहा हूं, लिखो तो, codes to enhance safety of ships of the vessels and the ports. Second point, even at the times of disasters, either man-made or natural, it has been actively involved in search and rescue operations. Next point, it has also been working with international organizations and naval forces of different countries to counter piracy, to counter robbery, and to counter लिख लिया, नॉन ट्रेडिशनल सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट्स। हो गया? तो दिस इज द आंसर फॉर द लास्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस। कंक्लूड कैसे करोगे इसको? व्हाट विल यू राइट इन द कंक्लूजन पार्ट? क्या कि आईएमओ इज डूइंग अ वेरी गुड वर्क फॉर द एनवायरमेंट एंड मैरीटाइम सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी, तो ऑल द कंट्रीज मस्ट हेल्प आईएमओ। ठीक है ना? इतना क्लियर आया? क्लियर हुआ? कैसा लगा सेशन? दोनों लंबा हो गया ज़्यादा? मज़ा आया? इंफॉर्मेटिव था? चलिए, थैंक यू ऑनलाइन पीपल, थैंक यू। ठीक है सर। हो गया फिनिश?